Who said finding cheap motor insurance had to be hard? You can make finding cheap insurance easier with mustard.co.uk. Compare your car, van or bike insurance quickly and easily online by the team dedicated to helping you find the right policy. For an insurance quote that cuts the mustard, choose mustard.co.uk. Details online, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard. 5 Premiership games for you today, with Rangers looking to cut the gap at the top. They host Ross County before Celtic's chance to respond tomorrow. Aberdeen and Motherwell both desperate for a win as they face off at Pittodrie. And 3 other exciting ties, with St Mirren hosting Hibs, Hearts taking on Dundee United and Kilmarnock travelling to Livingston. I'm Andrew MacLean. Joining me in the studio, Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Well, Rangers' new signing Nicholas Raskin reckons that the league title race is not yet over. He'll get the chance to do something about it himself today because he's in the Rangers squad, and he's taking on Ross County, and it looks like the most straightforward fixture on the card. The rest, Dundee United are bottom of the table and they are away to Hearts, still reeling from the going over they got from Rangers on Wednesday night. Motherwell are second bottom. They go to Aberdeen, who are simply reeling. 10 goals lost in the last 3 games, 1 scored, and that was a penalty. And also we have St Mirren Hibs, an emotional afternoon in Paisley. St Mirren fourth on the table, taking on a Hibs side devastated by the news that their owner Ron Gordon is sadly fighting cancer. It will be an emotional day for Lee Johnson and those Hibs players. Quite a card, Andrew.
Yeah, good fixture card ahead. Looking forward to it today. Rangers fans going along to Ibrox, looking for a glimpse of their new players again. Another glimpse of Cantwell. Will they see Raskin, and will they win to cut the gap for at least 24 hours? St Mirren Hibs is a fascinating one. St Mirren going great, but if Hibs beat them, they leapfrogged them in the league this season, and who would have seen that coming a few weeks ago? And then the other ones, Livy Kelly. Can Kelly build in that good win against Dundee United? Hearts United. I watched my old side Andrew United the other night against Kelly. Absolutely hopeless. Hearts will be looking to bounce back. And Aberdeen Motherwell, well, who can call that one? Both in a horrible run.
I'm looking at this fixture card, and I think the most important thing is for the bottom of the league. For the bottom 4, all away from home, desperate for points. Motherwell, 9 new signings. No excuses now against an Aberdeen team that are struggling, but you'd imagine Rangers to take business at Ross County, and then a few other good games.
Well, 5 big games across the top flight. We've got the top team all around the grounds. We'll keep you up to date with those and the games across all the 4 divisions today. But let's get straight back out amongst the grounds. Let's go to Ibrox. Gabriel Antoniazzi has the build-up for us.
Yes, thanks Andrew. Rangers come into the game off the back of that excellent win at Tynecastle midweek. Without a doubt, the best performance of the Michael Beale era. The target for them today is to see if they can build on that and really kick on. They want to make it 12 games unbeaten under Beale. They want to trim the gap to Celtic to 6 points before their game tomorrow, just as you said, and also build momentum not only in the league, with one eye slowly starting to turn to that huge Old Firm League Cup final at the end of this month. Team news-wise, Beale has shaken it up a little bit. 3 changes since that midweek victory. McGregor, Kamara and Tillman all drop to the bench. McLaughlin, Jack and Cantwell come in. There was a first appearance in the squad for new boy Nicola Raskin, and Yanis Hadji is also amongst the substitutes. I'll give you the 11 then. It's John McLaughlin in goal, a back 4 of James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davies and Borna Barisic. It's Ryan Jack, John Lundstrom and Todd Cantwell in midfield. The same front 3 as before: Fashion Sakala, Alfredo Morelos and Ryan Kent. The substitutes are McGregor, Hadji, Cholak, Kamara, Sands, Wright, Raskin, Tillman and Lowry. Well, what about the visitors? It's Ross County all the way down from Dingwall. They are off the foot of the table and unbeaten in their last 3 games. They are still just 1 point above the drop. They make 2 changes from the 1-1 draw with Hibernian on Tuesday night. Kenna and Luturi come into midfield for Jordan Tilson and Ross Callaghan, who are amongst the substitutes. New signing Simon Murray adds much needed firepower as well. He is on the bench. Malcolm Mackay sticks with a 3-4-1-2 formation. It's Ross Laidlaw in goal, a back 3 of Keith Watson, Jake Baldwin and Alex Iacovitti. Conor Randall will be right wing back with George Harman on the left. Ken McKenna and Loturi in midfield. Yandand are just playing in the hole in front of them, behind Eamon Brophy and Jordan White. Substitutes for the Staggies: Monroe, Kankola, Callahan, Sims, Murray, Tilson, Samuel, Smith and Stones. The referee at Ibrox is Ewan Anderson, and the VAR will be Gavin Duncan.
Yeah, it will be a tough test for Ross County, Hugh. I think it's 18 top flight games they've played against each other. Ross County have never beaten Rangers in any of those. So Rangers will, well, the fans will be going expecting 3 points today.
Yeah, I think an emphatic win is what the fans will be expecting. Ross County very fortunate on Wednesday night. They got a point against Hibs, but the goal that they scored was ludicrous. Two players bundled David Marshall, the Hibs goalkeeper, over the line, and somehow the goal was allowed to stand. They're very fortunate. They've scored 19 goals all season long. They are the team with the worst goals for record in the Premiership, and they're playing a Rangers side who are now transformed under Michael Beale. I think we can use that word justifiably. None more so than Morelos. 18 games under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, 3 goals. 11 games under Michael Beale, 6 goals. So Michael Beale is getting the proverbial tune out of Alfredo Morelos, and I fancy Rangers by 4 or 5 today.
Yeah, you look at the team news. Alfredo Morelos, a classic Hugh prediction there already. Going to be that straightforward, Hugh?
Oh yeah. It's that straightforward. This week. They'll get Raskin to come off the bench. He'll get a big ovation from the Rangers fans. Cantwell starts the match. I have no logical grounds for suggesting anything other than an emphatic Rangers win.
Any surprises in that team news, Mark? No Tillman in the starting lineup. Cantwell comes back in. That was kind of to be expected, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Well, Tillman's been playing some good stuff recently, but he's still a young man. So playing him every game might not have been Beale's mind at the minute. But Cantwell, I expected Cantwell to come in. I expected him to drop out midweek, going to Tynecastle. We discussed it last week. It's a different kettle of fish from playing at home in a nice environment. But I did expect him to come back in, and he'll feel better for that, getting minutes at Tynecastle. Fans are going along wanting to see a big performance again. I mean, last week in the phone in, we saw it and we thought he did fine. But Rangers fans come on and had a different opinion. They thought he was outstanding last week. So he'll be looking to build on that, and the fans will be wanting to see a bit more. The interesting thing is changing the goalie again,
Yeah, well, Michael Beale's talked a lot about that, hasn't he? But I mean, how sustainable is that towards the end of the season, changing from McGregor to McLaughlin? He said he's going to give Ross McCrory a chance as well. You don't really see top sides sort of chop and change their goalkeeper like that, do you? I must
admit, I thought he would have made a decision by now and stuck with one by now. But he's obviously true to his word. He's going to keep doing it as long as it's not affecting the team, which it isn't, because the back four look watertight at the minute. Then he'll keep going.
I don't think it's a problem. I really don't. I also don't think the problem, a lot of people going along to Ibrox today could have easily said, well, I tell you what, Rangers have had their best performance this season at Tynecastle midweek, same team if everybody's fit, but he's freshened up, and I totally agree, because no disrespect to Ross County, I don't think it'll be the 5 that Hugh's talking about. I think Rangers will win it. I think they'll win it comfortably. But it's a squad, and he's got to make sure he's getting the best out of his squad. It's not like there's young kids coming in, and unknown names. It's quality players coming into side.
4 or 5, I said. 4 or 5.
Well, let's keep going around the grounds, a place where two teams are desperate for a victory. Pittodrie, Dave Galloway will be watching Aberdeen against Motherwell.
Yes, Andrew, a massive match for both teams, and defeat just does not bear thinking about for either. Aberdeen with the worst defence in the Premiership right now, 46 goals conceded in 24 matches and 9 defeats from 11 in all competitions. They were dealt another blow last night when the appeal against Ross McCrory's red card on Wednesday was rejected. Motherwell are only off the foot of the top flight on goal difference, and apart from a cup victory over Arbroath not so long ago, haven't had a win since October. Now that would appear to set the scene then for a tense, nervous, uninspiring afternoon. Plenty changes being made to the starting 11s. Aberdeen firstly, just a couple for them. Horter and Scales come in for Lewis and McCrory. So Horter makes his debut in goals after arriving on loan during the transfer window from Ajax. His back four looks like Kennedy, McDonald, Pollock and Scales. Shinnie and Ramadani, the sitting midfielders, with Duke, Clarkson and Hayes behind the main man up top, Majowski. Substitutes for the Dons: Lewis, McKenzie, Markanday, Watkins, Coulson, Duncan, Richardson, Babbage and Roberts. Motherwell, no fewer than 5 changes for them. The men coming in: Johnson, Furlong, Cornelius, Spittle and Obika. Out drop Blaney, Danzaki, Slattery, Van Veen and Crankshaw. So it's Kelly in goals. Across the back, McGinn, Johnson, Lamy and O'Donnell. Midfield: Spittle, Cornelius, Goss and Furlong, with Aitchison partnering Obika up front. The substitutes for the Steelmen: Oxborough, Slattery, Van Veen, Crankshaw, Danzaki, McKinstry, Tierney, Danaki and Ross. The video assistant referee at Pittodrie is Graham Granger, and your match referee Kevin Clancy.
Yeah, Hugh, just how big a game is that for both sides?
Well, first of all, if Aberdeen lose today to Motherwell, it is officially a crisis at Pittodrie. They lost to Darvel in the Scottish Cup. Since then, took a 6-goal hammering from Hibs. St Mirren went to Pittodrie, scored 3. Aberdeen got a penalty. Ross McCrory's red card was not overturned after an appeal. If they lose today, it really is serious time. Motherwell at least being brave about it, playing Aitchison and Obika up front, but Stevie Hamill's got to gamble. They're plucking players out of thin air and they're bringing them in, and I'm not sure that works. I'm not sure that 5 changes game to game works either. However, with Aitchison and Obika up front, they have clearly decided that who dares wins at Pittodrie.
I like the look of this one as well. St Mirren against Hibs. Fraser Wishart covering that one.
Yeah, it should be an exciting one, Andrew, and I think just echoing what Hugh Keevins said earlier on, best wishes to Ron Gordon. As often supporters will throw and shout abuse at owners and people in football, but often we don't see what's going on behind the scenes, so best wishes to Ron Gordon. But I think this one's got a strong claim for game of the day, really making a cracking 90 minutes ahead prior to last Saturday. Both on a pretty poor run of form, but win for either would round off an excellent week. St Mirren, of course, won here against Motherwell, and then midweek at Pittodrie, and Hibs followed up a 6-0 thrashing of Aberdeen, the point in Dingwall. But on an injury front, pretty bad news for them both, particularly St Mirren, who have lost Jonah Ayunga with an ACL injury. He'll be out for about 6 months, and Hibs out with Kevin Nisbet. But the talk from the club today is it's not quite as bad as they first thought, and he could be in contention for the game next week. And that's probably why Stephen Robson signed Tony Watt and Lee Johnson signed Matt Hopp on loan from Middlesbrough, although both are on the bench. I think St Mirren will be delighted Nisbet's out, but the man for Hibs to watch, of course, is Curtis Main. 3 in the last 2. He's been outstanding in this terrific season that St Mirren have had so far. Based on their home form, talk about every home game: 7 wins, 4 draws since the opening day defeat against Motherwell. I was here, and St Mirren should actually have won that game, and they're now in 4th. And I think fans just giving themselves a wee bit of a fantasy, will be looking at perhaps top 6 and maybe even dreaming of Europe next season. But for all their travails this season and the abuse that some people have had in and around the club, the focus on their poor form at times, Hibs are only 2 points behind St Mirren. A win today could see them in 4th. So a big crowd expected. St Mirren fans are back their team in big numbers, and Boyd been excellent away support as well. Hibs, as always, will fill the away end. So an exciting 90 minutes ahead here in Paisley. Just hope the wind that you can maybe hear on the microphone doesn't ruin the game. Unsurprisingly, no changes for St Mirren from the team that won in Pittodrie in midweek. Usual 3-5-2 formation. Trevor Carson in goals, Marcus Fraser, Alex Gogic and Charles Dunn at the back. Midfield: Ryan Strain, Keanu Bacchus, Mark O'Hara, Greg Kiltie and Scott Tanza, with Alex Grieve and Curtis Main as the strikers. Peter Erminski, Richard Taylor, Declan Gallagher, Thierry Small, Ryan Flynn, Fraser Taylor, Kieran Offord, Aidan Gilmartin and Tony Watt are on the bench. Just 2 changes for Hibs. Cadden drops to the bench, Nisbet of course out injured. In come Egan Riley for his first start and Harry McCurdy. So 4-2-3-1 for Hibs. David Marshall in goals, Conrad Egan Riley at right back, then Will Fish, Paul Hanlon and Lewis Stevenson. Midfielder Jerome Jago and Joe Newell, and with Harry McCurdy, Josh Campbell and Aidan McGeady behind the striker Ellie Yuhan. Murray Johnson, Lewis Miller, Marianne Cabraja, Jai Tavares, Chris Cadden, Matthew Hopp, Ewan Henderson, Oscar McIntyre and Josh O'Connor are the subs. The referee today in Paisley, Matthew McDermott, and the VAR referee, a man who never far from the focus of everybody's minds, Willie Collum.
Yeah, I feel for Fraser Wishart there, because that main stand at St Mirren, you are brutally exposed. You could hear the elements there, but that should be a good game as well, Hugh.
The last thing that Lee Johnson, the Hibs manager, needed to hear was that Willie Collum was in charge of VAR, because Lee Johnson's had a bad week with VAR. He has been done out of 3 points at Dingwall because of a ludicrous decision, and Willie Collum has had a long history this season of getting everything wrong. So Lee Johnson will be watching to see what effect VAR has on this game. But at least in Paisley, it's tense for a positive reason. You've got two teams who are looking in an upward direction.
Tynecastle up next. David Frail is at Hearts against Dundee United.
Yes, Andrew, and quite windy here as well, so we can only hope it dies down in time for the game. I heard Hugh on the show last night saying that Hearts were left in bits and pieces by Rangers on Wednesday night. Well, the task they have today is to put themselves back together again. Hearts deserved a lot of praise for their 10-game unbeaten run before Rangers' visit during the week, but I think it's fair to say they probably didn't really turn up against them. The place will be packed out again today. It's Big Hearts Day, the 7th annual charity fun day, and the place will be packed out. Robbie Nielsen's players, they'll get cheered on, but I think they've got a bit of making up to do after that defeat in midweek. I think his tactics were maybe questioned, maybe a bit too attacking against Rangers. The team does look a bit more solid today, but there is still a lot of firepower in attack. He's actually just made 2 changes, but there's a bit of personnel shuffling about. Geraint Qual and Alex Cochrane are dropping out for Alan Forrest and Andy Halliday, so it looks like a 3-4-1-2 formation for Hearts. Sander Clark in goals, James Hill, Toby Civic and Kai Rose at the back, Alan Forrest right wing back, Andy Halliday, Robert Snodgrass and Stephen Kingsley, I'm told, is going to be playing left wing back, with Barry Mackay in behind Josh Ginnelly and Lawrence Shanklin. Subs for Hearts are Stewart, Grant, Keogh, Atkinson, Cochrane, Nielsen, Humphreys, Quall and Ada. As for United, rock bottom of the league, they badly need a win. Motherwell are only above them in goal difference. I think Liam Fox will be expecting a lot better than he got in the 1-0 midweek defeat at Kilmarnock. United fans, they weren't happy, upset at lack of January signings or a bit of protest at Rugby Park, banners against certain club figures. I think Liam Fox since then has asked for unity, and they're going to need it. United have only one away win this season, and they haven't actually won here since March 2014. I was looking at the team from that day. Andy Robertson, Stuart Armstrong, Ryan Gold, they were all on it. A young John Suter was on the bench. And the history books also tell me that one Mark Wilson put in an accomplished 90-minute performance at right back. I think Liam Fox probably wishes he had talent like that at his disposal today. He's made just 2 changes from the Killie loss. Craig Sibbaldon, Ilmari Niskanen are in for Ross Graham and Arnoud Djoum. United's going to be a sort of 3-4-2-1 formation. Mark Birigiti in goals, back 3 of Ryan Edwards, Charlie McGrew, Scott McMahon, Liam Smith, Dylan Levitt, Craig Sibbaldon and Ilmari Niskanen across the middle, with Jamie McGrath and Glenn Middleton in behind Stephen Fletcher. Subs for United are Newman, Graham, Pollock, Djoum, Sadat, Freeman, Aina, Cudjoe and McLeod. The referee at Tynecastle is Nick Walsh and the VAR is Chris Graham.
Last but not least, Livingston against Kilmarnock. Roger Hanna is at the Tony Macaroni Arena.
Yeah, and I think it may have been your good self, Andrew, who christened this fixture El Plastico, and it's a big game for both. Livy, they fell to 5th after that 3-0 midweek defeat at Celtic Park. I think David Martindale said in the eve of the game that Livy are the points per pound champions of Scotland. But by half time on Wednesday night, he was ready to spend a pound in an Uber to get him away from Celtic Park. If he's looking for more positivity, he doesn't really need a taxi to get him away from Kilmarnock. He enjoys these fixtures. They've already beaten Killie home and away this season, and they'll be eager to complete the hat-trick today. Killie themselves, they've been buoyed by that 1-0 home win over Dundee United on Wednesday night. That lifted them from bottom of the table up to 9th in that congested relegation zone. Danny Armstrong, he returned from suspension for that game to score the only goal after conceding a penalty which keeper Sam Walker saved. But here's the killer stat. Armstrong, 9 goals this season for Killie, Andrew. Every time he's hit the net, Killie have won the game. But it's just 2 points from a possible 36 on the road in the league this season. Just 1 win away in the top flight for Kilmarnock since the year 2020. And if they are to survive in this big relegation battle, they really do need to start picking up points in their travels. They'll have to do so without Kyle Lafferty, Jordan Jones, Ollie Shaw, all of whom left on transfer deadline day, and they'll really, goals on the road have been a problem for Derek McInnes. As for David Martindale, 5 changes from that defeat at Celtic Park. In come Montano, Bradley, Sean Kelly, Stephen Kelly and Joel Newbley, who makes his first start in 3 months for the Lions. It's Shamal George in goal. Back to a back 4, Nicky Devlin, Jack Fitzwater, Morgan Boys and Christian Montano. A midfield 3, Sean Kelly, Scott Pittman and Stephen Kelly, and then Stephen Bradley and Joel Newbley will flank Bruce Anderson in attack. On the bench it's Hamilton, Obalai and Longridge, Penrice, Omiyonga and Holt, Shinnie, Bahambala and Guthrie. As for Killie, 2 enforced changes. Out injured are Ash Taylor and Liam Donnelly. In come Ryan Alabiosu and Alan Power. So that means it's Sam Walker in goal. Back 4, Ryan Alabiosu, Lewis Mayo, Joe Wright and Luke Chambers. Across the middle, Danny Armstrong, Alan Power, Liam Polworth and Rory McKenzie. And up top, Kyle Vassell with Christian Doidge. On the bench, Hemming, Sanders and Stokes, Alston, McEnroy and Lyons, Murray, Robinson and Wales. The referee at the Tony Macaroni is Colin Stephen and the VAR is John Beaton.
Well, that is your team news for those 5 big Premiership fixtures, all 3 o'clock kickoffs today. But next up, we'll be bringing all the guys in, look at the big talking points from across the last week.
And now just a quick note from our podcast sponsor Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West. We are proud to announce that Lookers is now the new name for Taggarts. Taggarts has been part of the Lookers Motor Group for nearly 20 years, and over time, being part of one of the largest multi-franchise dealer groups in the UK and Ireland, has helped Taggarts to provide a great customer experience, value and choice to their customers across Scotland, and that's something that will never change. And now, they've decided though to change the name above the door to move forward as one. You'll find the same great service and friendly faces you've come to know at their Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms, working hard to give the best experience every time. You can now browse and shop online for your next car at lookers.co.uk and choose from thousands of used cars in stock with home delivery available. You can also discover the latest new car offers, book a test drive and book your next service online. Although the name has changed above the door, everything else is staying exactly the same, and you can still expect the same great service and friendly faces when you visit in store. Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson, Hugh Keevins here with me, Andrew MacLean, on today's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. We've got the top team all around the grounds, and let's take a look at the past week in Scottish football, the biggest talking points. And Hugh, you've got to say that the closing of the transfer window, the deadline passed on Tuesday night. What stuck out to you from transfer deadline day and just the window as a whole?
Well, I mean, by and large, it's a much ado about nothing. We make a big deal about it and hype it up, but not a lot goes on. Raskin and Cantwell will be good signings for Rangers. Ange Postecoglou got his work done early. I think we're very fortunate in Celtic and Rangers. We have 2 terrific squads of players. We are going to have a grandstand finish to the season. We've got a cup final to come on the 26th of February. So they continue to occupy the headlines, and rightly so. They've got the best players, and they will continue to dominate from now until forever.
Yeah, Roger Hanna, we look at the Rangers team today. Todd Cantwell starts for them. Nicholas Raskin on the bench. They're the 2 players that Michael Beale brought in this window. Do you feel he could have done with more, or he certainly wanted more?
Yeah, he spoke a few times about looking for more. I mean, he still does. There's John McLaughlin back in the team today, as you were discussing earlier on, Andrew. He still does need to address the goalkeeping position long term, because Alan McGregor, I would imagine, would retire in the summer, and I'm not sure anyone is convinced that John McLaughlin is the long-term answer. So that's something that we'll now need to look at in the summer months. He spoke himself about looking for another centre-half, with questions over Philip Hollander, whose deal expires in the summer as well. James Sands' loan is up in the summer, so that's another position he wants to look at. And of course, he's spoken about a striker. Alfredo Morelos, 2 goals at Tynecastle in midweek, edging back to better form under Michael Beale. But it hasn't signed a contract, Andrew, and it is interesting to hear Michael Beale speaking about the striker that he wants. The player wasn't available in the January window, but will be available in the summer window. So you wonder what the future holds for Alfredo Morelos long term.
Yeah, that is a big one, Gordon Dalziel, because people talk about the January transfer window and who's coming in and who's going out, but Rangers fans will want to know answers about Alfredo Morelos. They'll want to know answers about Ryan Kent, and as well Malik Tillman as well, because he is one that I'm sure a lot of Rangers fans would want to stay beyond the summer. Michael Beale has spoken about him this week, saying he's keen to keep him as well. There's a lot of work for Rangers to do, not just in the summer but before the summer as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree, Andrew. I think that the Rangers fans do want answers, but I've got to be fair on the Rangers manager. The one thing I've found since he's come into the hot seat, he's very open with the supporters. He likes to give out that information. He doesn't hold anything back. So as soon as he knows, then I'm sure that Rangers fans, that information will filter through. I can't see Morelos still being there. Can they convince Ken? I don't really know. I think that we all got carried away in the fact that even when it was a situation with Goldson, I think we all thought, no, not signed a contract after January window closes, he'll be away in the summer, and you look what happened. So there's still negotiations to be done, but I think Rangers are going about their business quite well. They brought in 2 players, they've not rushed it. I think Rangers fans would like to see a bit more. I think all that business will be done this summer, and I think Beale will obviously have his eye on the targets he wants in, and one of those targets will definitely be a goalkeeper.
There'll definitely be a goalkeeper being looked at, Mark, and Michael Beale's talked about a number 9. He says he has someone in mind. Do you think that has any bearing on what happens with Alfredo Morelos?
Yeah, I think so, but going back to Morelos, I think Morelos has almost played himself into a sort of trial period now for Rangers. 14 games left of this season. Now, he's scored 4 goals in the last 3 games. Looks impressive. However, reading a newspaper article today, when you look at his tallies over the last 3 or 4 years in the league, you know, some could argue that that's fell short of what you expect from a striker at Rangers during league business. However, in these 14 games, if Morelos goes on a scoring streak, then Beale must look at it and think, well, do I really need another number 9? Now, I was of the opinion a couple of weeks ago that Morelos was done, he was gone, Beale would move on. But if he continues to score, I'll say it again, the fans forget everything else that surrounds Morelos in terms of fitness and the baggage he brings to the club. If he scores, why would Beale look elsewhere?
I think if he scores today, Hugh, then that'll be a 6th consecutive season he's hit double figures in the top flight. It's not that easy to replace a striker who is consistently scoring goals. Yes, he goes through patches where he doesn't score as many, but for a striker to score double figures in 6 consecutive Scottish Premiership seasons, you would want a player like that on your books. The problem is Morelos' numbers are not just about the number of goals he scores, it's the number of pounds he costs per month to Rangers. He must be the costliest player in Scottish football. If speculation about his weekly wage is correct, he could be the highest paid player in Scottish football. Now, he'll want even more to stay. The question is, how highly does Michael Beale rate him? I think Michael Beale will make Morelos the player he used to be, the European top scorer at Rangers, and I think Beale and Morelos work together. I'm not sure that he would automatically fit in elsewhere. It's a question of how far are Rangers prepared to push the boat out. Roger, we touched on Nicholas Raskin. He's on the bench for Rangers today. Where do you see him fitting in that Rangers midfield jigsaw?
I think he probably fit in just in the kind of 2 holders, if you like, and it's been interesting the way Michael Beale sort of shuffled those players. I think Glenn Kamara missed out last weekend, then Ryan Jack missed out, or was it Lundstrom missed out last weekend, Ryan Jack missed out, and midweek it's Glenn Kamara who's getting a rest this afternoon, having scored last Saturday afternoon. So I think he'll go in there and compete and just add another body in there. I thought he spoke very well yesterday. He's clearly looking forward to the challenge, which will start today against Ross County, and it's a big month for Rangers, because if they have any chance at all in this title race, they need to start making inroads and hoping Celtic drop points in this month of February before they run out of games. And of course the month ends against Celtic at Hampden in the League Cup final.
If we then look at Celtic, David Friel, business done early again by Ange Postecoglou. A lot of the talk was about players going out. Yorgos Giacomakis hasn't left yet, but will leave soon. Josip Juranovic leaving as well. I think if you told a lot of Celtic fans a few months ago that those two would be leaving, there would maybe be some concerns, but Ange Postecoglou just moves so quickly to make those replacements, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's been pretty slick from the manager. You know, he had his targets in mind, Andrew. I think Kyung-gu took a little bit of time to get over the line, but was clearly the one he wanted in, and I would still say it's a bit of a gamble. Not so much Juranovic. I think Alistair Johnson and Tony Ralston are more than capable of filling that hole. I think with he might take some time to settle, and you know, I heard somebody say during the week, Kyogo's only a hamstring away from Celtic having to then go to the next person. Giacomakis would have probably guaranteed you 10 goals maybe between now and the end of the season. Obviously there's reasons why he wanted to go. I think it was maybe come down to his contract, maybe come down to his playing time, and Ange Postecoglou wasn't going to stand in his way. So no, it's been slick stuff, but I do still think there's an element of gambling letting Giacomakis go, because we don't know what O's going to bring, and we might not know for a few weeks yet.
Yeah, Mark, David talks there about it. How much pressure is there on Celtic's new recruits to perform straight away? Because they do have quite a big squad. They sometimes throw players straight in. They've done it with Alistair Johnson, but then there's other players, Tomoki Iwata, for example, Yuki Kobayashi. We'll see it with O as well, where they maybe don't need to play that much game time in the early stages of their Celtic career because they've got a big squad.
Yeah, I think you're right in that respect. It's a luxury that Ange Postecoglou has at the minute because how well coached his team is, how he's brought players on, and the embarrassment of riches he's got to choose from. So he can bed these players in. But I would agree with David. You know, if you said Juranovic is leaving and Giacomakis at the start of the window, then you'd automatically think your team's weakened. Now Johnson is filled in well and he looks the part, so then you think, well, get away with that. But David's right in terms of the striker position. Kyogo's on fire just now and there's no reason to drop him. Postecoglou said that. If he's scoring, keep playing him. However, if he picks up something, then it's up to O to come in and take that mantle on. Now that's a lot to ask for a 21-year-old who's never experienced this league. Or do you turn to Maeda? Either way, I think Giacomakis would have still been a better bet. However, I said at the start, when you hear murmurings from the agent and the contract comes into the media, then the things certainly weren't right behind the scenes, and I'm not surprised he's away now. But Ange Postecoglou, quick to get a striker in. It's different when he comes on the pitch, only has to do it instantly. But time will tell on this one.
I think you have to look at every player whose name ends in A. Jota, Abada, Maeda. They are all good goal scorers. Maeda was a bit wasteful at Tannadice and again midweek against Livingston, but he's a fine player. And I do take David Friel's point on board that, you know, Kyogo is only an injury away from lots of headlines being made about this. Oh, why did Giacomakis go? I do think that in Abada, Jota, Maeda, they can cope even with a Furuhashi injury. But as long as Furuhashi stays fit, Celtic are in a good position.
We're seeing players being thrown in when they've only had one training session at some clubs. Gordon, Nicholas Raskin only got his work permit approved yesterday. He's on the bench for Rangers today. You look at the way Celtic have done business. Alistair Johnson and Yuki Kobayashi were training with Celtic for about 2 weeks before they were even available to play for them. How big a help is that as a manager when you get your business done so early that players have that time to settle in?
Yeah, I think it's a luxury that you know you've got players that are fit and ready to go. Obviously, Alistair Johnson was in the World Cup as well. But you can handpick your games because you look at different games at Celtic Park or where it's away from home. Postecoglou, you've got to say, it doesn't matter if it's at Ibrox, Tynecastle or Celtic Park. If he thinks they're ready, he'll throw them in. He believes in his players, and I think the other managers do as well. I just think that nowadays it's a completely different way going about football. Days gone by, you would have time to be bedded into these big clubs. Now, the managers are so confident in your ability. They know what you can do. They're putting you in beside quality players, which help. You know what I mean? You look at that Celtic midfield, for instance, coming off the bench. It must be brilliant because you're thinking, from the wide areas we can create chances, from the middle of the park, from the full back areas, and it's the same with Rangers because Rangers are in good form just now. I thought they were brilliant against Hearts at the weekend, midweek, sorry. So I don't think managers have now got the same attitude of saying let them bed in. It's right in and away you go, and I think that is the best way for a player joining.
You look at the teams at the other end of the table. We're chatting about Celtic and Rangers, but look at Aberdeen. You know, they sign these players, the managers, away, but they have to throw them in. It's a necessity. You look at Stevie Hamill as well, signing players.
One last night and one today. Was it Dan Casey, Irish defender, came in last night. Callum Butcher, former Dundee United midfielder, in the door this morning. That's 9 signings they've made. He's got a big task in his hands, doesn't he, to try and get this team working. Yeah, so it's Stevie Hamill's team. You know, you can't have the argument, well, I'm working with someone else's players and I'm trying to get the best tune out of them. He has compiled a list of players now, and we were chatting about it on Thursday night. I think he's got to be given time. Why would you then just get rid of a manager after sanctioning all these signings? Are they any better than the ones he's got? Well, Motherwell fans will like to hope so.
Just quickly, Andrew, the biggest decision that shocked me in the transfer window came from an interim manager who said that he was the one that got rid of the captain, the Aberdeen captain. That is beyond belief for me. You know, an interim manager, it's in there to hold the reins until the new manager is appointed. makes a big decision to get rid of your club captain.
And then the Kilmarnock manager says the decision to get rid of Kyle Lafferty had nothing to do with him.
Fraser Wishart. Oh, sorry, Hugh, on you go.
No, just to finish off by saying it's a wacky old country.
Fraser Wishart, you're at St Mirren against Hibs. One of the most interesting deadline day deals was the move to take Tony Watt to St Mirren, and that seems like a huge piece of business because of the news about Jonah Ayunga this week.
Yeah, it was a strange one, I have to say, Andrew. I wasn't quite expecting Tony Watt to leave Dundee United. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. He's only been there a wee while, and he's one of the better players, but I think it's a really good signing for St Mirren. I think Tony tends to do really well when he moves into a club, and if he's in here for the short term, I think he'll do well for St Mirren. But I think you're right. I think they knew before it was announced that Ayunga's knee was worse than perhaps we all thought, so they needed to get somebody in pretty quickly, you know. And from that point of view, you can't do much better if you're St Mirren than get somebody like Tony Watt, an established Premiership player, a couple of Scotland caps as well. So I think he's a good sign, although he's on the bench today. But it's a crazy world, the transfer window. When you think of these are individuals, these are people. This is their job, and they can only change jobs for 1 month of the year. And then come deadline day, you know, I was involved in a lot of things that were going on as well, and people are sitting waiting to see whether they might be moving club, moving job, moving country. You know, sitting waiting at 6 o'clock at night, and you get no chance to even go and think about it. You actually just get told, right, you're moving now, get out the club and go and play elsewhere. So it's a crazy world, and I think sometimes clubs and supporters get caught up and worried because the clubs only signed 2 players or only signed 1 player. You can't keep turning over players time after time, window after window, and just in the hope that 1 or 2 stick. And that seems to see what happens. Sometimes clubs just sign players just for the sake of it and hoping against hope that this player will come in and do them a turn for a couple of months.
Well, the transfer dealings are done. 5 big games in the Premiership today. We'll go back around the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins in the studio with me, Andrew MacLean, on today's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. The top team all around the grounds. Let's go back and get a taster before kick-off. Let's go to Pittodrie, isn't it? That's a really interesting one. 2 sides desperate for a win. Dave Galloway, how will the feeling be amongst the fans, not just the home fans as well, the away fans for this one?
I would say, Andrew, dread and trepidation. I think both sets of supporters will be here, in hope rather than confidence or expectation. It's a very, very intriguing one, isn't it? You know, I mean, the crazy way the Premiership is at the moment. Aberdeen maybe 4 points off 4th place, but their catastrophic form of late, it does give serious cause for concern. You know, I've heard many people, they've said to me, you know, they can't possibly be sucked into a relegation dogfight, but I do recall what happened to Hibs under Terry Butcher a number of years ago. They said they were too big, too good to go down, and look what happened to them, beaten over 2 legs in the playoff by Hamilton Accies. Motherwell in dreadful form, but you know, I doubt they will have any fears at all about today's game. This has been a happy hunting ground for them, incidentally. They've won in 4 of their previous 5 league visits to Pittodrie, so that sets the scene for a very intriguing game, I would say.
Yeah, let's hear from both managers, starting with Aberdeen interim boss Barry Robson.
Well, I know Stevie Hamill well, and I know he's a very good coach and a good guy, Stevie, and he's trying to get them to play, which is admirable. I think that's good. You can see they try and play football. It's always a tough game against Motherwell, no matter what. You know, they're going to be physical, but they try and pass the ball under Steve as well. So that's good for him. And I've watched quite a bit of them, and it's going to be a difficult game. There's no game in this Scottish Premiership's easy. It's difficult. It's tough. But if we bring the tactical side that we've done, well, over one day, obviously not loads of time, and we can get a few things right, we've got a chance of winning the game.
Away performances this season have generally been very good. It's a place we've won already this season. It was one of our better performances since we've been here. So it shows us we're capable of doing it. It's a team as well that they've changed the manager and they've not had the results they wanted as well. So we need to understand we'll be in a battle. We'll be playing against a team that really up for it as well, and we need to be ready for that.
St Mirren against Hibs. Fraser Wishart and St Mirren have this incredible home record at the moment. I think it's unbeaten in 12 in Paisley, 11 of those in the Premiership, and they'll be keen to keep that going today.
Yeah, I think they can, and part of that will be down to the St. supports who are coming out in big numbers. They're expected to be 7,000 and 8,000 here today. I said earlier, Hibs fans will come and fill the away stand, which is brilliant. It's good atmosphere, but for all the games, the St. supporters have got really behind their team, and that's really due to that terrific home form, as you say. And I said earlier, I was here when they played Motherwell that first game of the season, only league game they've lost here this season, and they should have won it. They should have beaten Motherwell. So for some reason their home form has just been terrific, and I think the way the Hibs play suits them. Hibs is never dull with the Burnley. You never get a kind of very dull, boring game. It's either very exciting for the opposition, or they bang in a few goals themselves. And the way Lee Johnson plays, they'll come out and try and dominate the ball, and St. Mirren quite like that. They like to just sit back, be compact, 3-5-2 formation, but they've got good technical players in the midfield. O'Hara can drive them forward, Kiltie and Bacchus can play, and got their support, Grieve and Curtis Main scoring goals and looking like the striker he was a few years ago at Motherwell. So everything looking good for St. Mirren, and I do think they'll win this game today again. There's no reason to see why they wouldn't do that. I think they've got the players, they've got the organisation, they're backing with a huge support. I think this is going to be a cracking 90 minutes, and I expect Hibs to score a few. I think this could be something like a 2-1 or a 3-2.
Well, we'll try and go back to Fraser at half time if he's not been blown away by that point. Sounds really windy there. Roger Hannah, are you expected to be blown away by exciting football at Livingston against Kilmarnock?
It's interesting about the strikers. I heard you in the show last night just discussing this sort of merry-go-round of strikers, of Tony Watt going to St Mirren, and Eamon Brophy and Simon Murray end up at Ross County. There's Kyle Lafferty and Ollie Shaw, both away from Kilmarnock, and you wonder where Kilmarnock's goals are going to come from, Andrew. They've gone today with former Livingston player Scott Robinson on the bench. They're preferring Christian Doidge and Kyle Vassell up front. Christian Doidge hasn't scored a goal for Kilmarnock. His last goal was for Hibernian on the opening day of the League Cup groups in July last year. So he is definitely due one. Kyle Vassell, he's still settling into his Kilmarnock career and isn't really hitting the goal trail either. So that will be the thing that might well shape this game, where Kilmarnock can find the goals from, because they're leaning extremely heavily on Danny Armstrong. 9 goals so far. As we said earlier on, every time he scores, Kilmarnock win. But every time he doesn't score, they tend not to win. So there's a big burden of responsibility on the shoulders of Vassell and Doidge for me this afternoon.
And Hearts against Dundee United, David Friel. Tynecastle hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Dundee United of late. They've lost each of their last 3 top flight visits. They are conceding 12 goals in the process.
Yeah, they have, as I said earlier on. I think both teams have kind of passed each other in terms of relegations, but they haven't won here in 9 years. Andrew, just to give you a glimpse of how gloomy it is over here, they've actually turned the floodlights on full blast at Tynecastle. Not great weather, the rain's on, the wind's on, but I don't think it's any excuse. The pitch looks decent. I think both teams will be having a go for it. I think Dundee United have no option but to have a go for it. They need points, they need wins, but I would expect a big reaction from Hearts. As I said earlier on, they just didn't turn up against Rangers, but Robbie Nielsen's got plenty of firepower. Lon Shanklin looking to add to his tally, Josh Ginnelly, Robert Snodgrass, Barry Mackay. They've got goals in the team, so I do expect Hearts to win. I'm sorry, producer Callum, I do expect Hearts to win, but United will give them a game.
And the worst press box in the Premiership to be where there's bad weather?
By a mile. I need one of those umbrella hats, Andrew.
It's absolutely awful there. It's down the front of the stand. You get the rain, you get the wind. It's not great. So we wish David Friel all the best. Hopefully his kit's still working by half time.
He deserves all he gets for using the word narrative all the time.
Do we not just hope the heavens open up? That's what I'm thinking anyway.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Best wishes, David Friel. We will go back to Ibrox next. Gabriel Antoniazzi will be looking ahead to Rangers against Ross County.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Just around 5 minutes until kick-off for our 5 big Premiership games. Rangers against Ross County, St Mirren Hibs, Livingston Kilmarnock, Hearts Dundee United and Aberdeen Motherwell. We'll go back to Ibrox in a second, but let's hear from the manager, starting with Michael Beale.
Malky does a really, really good job. I think his team tried to play the right way. He's used the loan market and the free market really well the last couple of years and brought some interesting players into the league. It must have been really difficult for him to lose Charles Cook and Hungbo at the end of last season, but he seems to have recruited well. They've always given us a difficult game at Ibrox. I remember some difficult moments against them, and what I would say about Malky is he always sets his team up to try to win the game. So they've got a different type of battle between now and the end of the season that we've got, but it's important we put on a strong home performance. There will be changes to our team to keep refreshing it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of hard work from our chairman, from our chief executive Stephen, and from Enda, head of recruitment, in terms of actually for the whole month sifting through the players that you can get, you might not get, the ones that do come up eventually. But to end up with 2 youngsters and 3 men, so to speak, I'm really delighted. You know, we get Nohan from Hibs early on in the window. Young Josh Stones is another one, 20-year-old from Wigan, who's come up and really adapted right into the middle of the group. And then when we managed to get Ewan Brophy in from St Mirren, which was a really good one for us. And then right on the transfer deadline day, we managed to get Simon Murray in from Queen's Park, which was a great one for us. And, you know, at the death, we managed to get Guion Edwards in, who's played over 200 games in England as a winger.
Yeah, Rangers' win midweek was undoubtedly their best performance under Michael Beale, and they'll be hoping to put in a home performance like that.
Well, exactly. 50,000 people there who were greatly impressed by Rangers at Tynecastle. They want to see a continuation of that, and they're reading headlines from Nicholas Raskin saying this title race is not over. So the objective is to be 6 points behind Celtic by 5 o'clock. Celtic kick off at 12 o'clock tomorrow in Perthshire. You know, Malky, he's a great guy, great coach, and he has made good signings, but there ought not to be any reason why Rangers don't win this match.
Well, not far away from kick-off. Let's go back to Ibrox. Gabriel Antoniazzi has the build-up and a recap of the teams.
Yes, I certainly do, Andrew. Just a few minutes until we get underway here. Interesting, you were talking about Rangers trying to kick on for that really impressive performance at Tynecastle midweek. Just wanted to point out, for the first time in several months, you look at their bench, you've got the likes of Hadji, Cholak, Kamara, Raskin and Tillman starting to look really strong again. Plenty of options there, considering that players coming back from injury and a few January additions. We all know that Rangers are trying to make it 12 games unbeaten under Michael Beale, and as you said, cut Celtic's lead down to 6 points. We spoke to Nicholas Raskin yesterday, and he said anything can happen. We still have to play Celtic twice, and that is something that all Rangers fans here will be keeping in mind. I'll give you a quick run through of the teams again just before kick-off. Beale has made 3 changes from midweek. McGregor, Kamara and Tillman all dropped to the bench. McLaughlin, Jack and Cantwell come in. In goal, it's John McLaughlin, a back four of James Tavernier, Conor Goldson, Ben Davis and Borna Barisic. Ryan Jack and John Lundstrom in midfield, with Todd Cantwell just playing in front of them. Fashion Scala, Alfredo Morelos and Ryan Kent play up top. The substitutes: McGregor, Hadji, Cholak, Kamara, Sands, Wright, Raskin, Tillman and Lowry. Ross County have made 2 changes from their 1-1 draw with Hibernian on Tuesday night. Kennett and Loture come into the midfield with Tilson and Callahan, who drop to the bench. It's a 4-3-1-2 for them. Ross Laidlaw in goal, defensive Keith Watson, Jake Baldwin and Alex Iacovitti, Conor Randall, Noah Kenner, Victor Loture and George Harman across the middle, with Jan Danda playing in the 10, Eamon Brophy and Jordan White up top. They can hear Simply the Best playing around Ibrox. That signals Captain James Tavernier to lead the team out. Ross County here as well, wearing their white strips. Rangers in their blue home strips. A packed out Ibrox for a 3 o'clock fixture. It's wet here, it's windy here as well, but it should be a cracking game, Andrew. Kickoff is coming up next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Trade accounts available now. Call them today.
Just about to get underway for the 3 o'clock kickoff, just kicking off right about now, so that's probably time to get your predictions in the ACCA. How bad is it going to be today?
It's a Rangers win at Ibrox. It's a draw at Paisley for me, St Mirren and Hibs. On the old threadbare carpet at the Tony Macaroni, it'll be a win for Livingston against Kilmarnock. Tynecastle, sorry to all of those who hold Dundee United close to their hearts, they're hopeless, and it's a Hearts win. And I think Aberdeen surely will win at home against Motherwell, struggling Aberdeen. But if Aberdeen don't win today, it is crisis time.
Yeah, Aberdeen against Motherwell could be the first Scottish Premiership game ever that both teams lose. But what are you predicting, Mark Wilson?
Well, my ACCAs are getting progressively worse, but here we go. I'll go a Rangers win, I'll go a St Mirren win, a draw at the Tony Macaroni. Hearts will beat United and Aberdeen will beat Motherwell. They'll eventually get a win after a tough few weeks.
Don't know if this is going to change your predictions at all. Some big insider news we've got. Peter Pollitt in for Jamie McGrath. Late switch, injury in the warm-up.
No. Remember the date, you heard it here first. I was on fire last week, as the boys to my right will tell you, Andrew. So I'm going to give you Rangers, home win. St Mirren, home win. Livingston, home win. Hearts, home win. Aberdeen, Motherwell, game abandoned after 25 minutes. No, I'm going for a draw.
Right, looking forward to those all being terrible.
Yeah, remember the
done.
day.
Aka's all done by
Catchphrase.
I don't even know what the
You were good last week, Andrew. Did you hear him last week? He was on fire.
Boom,
Got
boom.
almost everything he said right.
Yeah.
Almost. That being the key word there. Almost. Yeah, we are kicked off in the 5 games. David Friel's been in touch to say that someone in front of him has a box of. Is this an age thing for me? What are skinny whips? Do we know what those are?
Skinny whips. I've got
Skinny
a pair
whips.
of them. If it's the same things I'm thinking
I
of.
don't think I want to know what that is. I don't think I want to know.
I don't know.
A bag of skinny whips.
A box of
A
skinny
box of
whips.
them?
I have no idea. It looks like some sort
Must be
of
sweets.
confectionery. I don't know if it's maybe some. I don't know. Is that an Edinburgh thing? Who knows? Absolutely.
Just
Low calorie snacks, I'm told by producer Callum.
give him another 2 minutes and he'll tell you it's a poor game.
Yeah, maybe not the brightest.
I do
start.
sympathise for him. I've only been to Tynecastle, or when the
It's
new stand was
terrible.
built, a couple of times in new press area, but you would have thought they may have considered things a bit differently when they were building that.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great, especially because they have these sort of perspex
Perspex,
covers
aye.
that go over the top, but they don't shield
What are you
your
supposed
kit
to
at
do with
all
that?
from the rain. So if you've got a laptop or like our broadcasting kit, you're in real trouble. I did a Scotland under 21 commentary once, and I was sat up the back of the stand opposite of the main stand, and it was during COVID season, so there was no fans in, but I think every single journalist that was working at the game actually sat in the press box and just watched it on the TV inside, because that's how bad the weather was, because they were getting absolutely soaked. It was like a storm in there, and they all just decided to pack it in, move inside.
Shows what Hearts think of you guys. Put you there for a reason.
Excuse me. You are now one of you guys. You are, unless you're standing in here not being paid to be here, you are accepting money to be a pundit on a football programme. You are part of the media. You are no longer Celtic's Mark Wilson. You are part of
Are
the
we accepting that, mate? We're not really, because we don't go.
You
and write,
absolutely are.
We
You
do not go
absolutely
and
are.
write the nonsense every weekend.
in that
No, you
case,
just you speak the nonsense every week. You talk on the radio.
we created
it. It's very
We
simple.
don't hide behind these
Divide in the
words.
studio.
It's split down the middle.
Andrew's only been in for an hour and
Right, my issue is that I am on the same side of the argument as Hugh, which is not a good side to be on in any argument.
been against him
anyway,
already.
before we start a scrapping here, let's do this.
The first half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Now, I am directing these remarks at the two non-members of the media here who accept money for talking. Name the last 3 players to miss a penalty in the league for Celtic and Rangers. So, Mark, Dazzler, that's 6 players in total.
Yeah.
3 from each club. Who are the last 3 players to miss a penalty in the league for both Celtic and Rangers?
Get your answers in at Clyde SSB. Remember, it's a race as well, so you want to be the first to get those in. There's been a decent chance for Ross County in the early stages. John Lundstrom giving it away. It was Harmon's shot that was blocked, and then another shot blocked as well. So a bright start for Ross County in that one. There has been a goal down the divisions. Annan 1-0 up against Bonnyrigg Rose, an early Tommy Goss penalty. But that is a bright start for Ross County. Less than 3 minutes in that chance.
well, it certainly was. I mean, I'll take you back to the game Rangers v Celtic at Ibrox, where Rangers concede earlier on to Dalziel and Maeda, and the same ball Morelos played, well, carbon copy of that from Lundstrom, and Ross County probably should have done better. But this is a revisit of the fixtures, or not, when we were watching it one time, and they're in again, Ross County, after they went one up. That's his famous line. No, of course, it was a replay of the goal.
No, I see.
They're in again.
I think
Really
scored again. But it was a great chance from Ross County. You've got to say, a real positive start. Yeah, it was that slack ball given away in the middle of the park that caused them all the problems.
Early pressure.
I have to throw Simon Donnelly under the bus. Last night he's watching the television in here, and as you know, Queen's Park were playing A United, and a red card was shown, And Simon jumped up out his seat, pointed to the screen. It was not yet kick-off time, sadly. And it was an old game they were showing at it.
I thought you were going to say the referee was practicing. He was out there practicing brandishing his red cards.
He was watching a game from earlier in the season.
That is great. I'm going to have to pull him up. What about that?
Livingston have hit the bar. Montano's header at the back post from a Stephen Bradley cross. There's also been a goal for Morton in the Championship, 1-0 up against Inverness. Calvin Miller with the goal in the Highlands there. But Ross County struggling for goals earlier on in the season, but they have made those additions. Eamon Brophy has come in, Simon Murray coming in on deadline day as well. Those are, when you're down the league, big additions, aren't they?
Well, you need a goal scorer to get you out of trouble. I mean, when you look at the teams all down there, obviously defensively they've all got their flaws, that's why they're there. But a goal scorer, in my opinion, Andrew, will always get you out of it. Now, Ross County have signed a couple. Remains to be seen how Simon Murray will adjust to stepping up the divisions. It was an interesting move, that, actually. You know, Queen's Park flying, and you've got Ross County who are flirting with relegation. Might he see his old team, go by him? Eamon Brophy, good career, good goal scorer, but went off the rails a wee bit in terms of his performances, but he scores in his debut. So important signings.
Does Jordan White not have a good record of scoring against Rangers?
Yeah, he has a really good goal scoring record against Rangers.
No,
He's a big Rangers
so.
fan as well, Jordan White.
Is he really?
Yeah. But has scored a few times against them. Sam Walker with a good save. Joel Newbley's drive. It's been all Livingston so far in that game. Pretty scrappy so far between Hearts and Dundee United. Doesn't sound like
But I had Friel for 4 minutes for a scrappy comment. Usually every week, a bit scrappy. 4 minutes gone.
Bonnyrigg Rose have equalised against Annan Athletic. Callum Connolly with the goal there, and Callum Patterson, who almost joined Hearts during the January transfer window. He scored for Sheffield Wednesday. Do you think Robbie Nielsen will have been disappointed to miss out on him?
I think he'd have been a good signing. I was very critical of Patterson when he was at Hearts, not because of his ability, because of the position he was playing. He was never a right back in a month of Sundays, and I'm glad Neil Warnock proved me and everyone right. He can get goals. He's a handful. I thought he would have added a lot to the Hearts squad just now, but unfortunately they didn't get him.
You think he would have gotten the Hearts team at the minute?
Yeah.
Patterson.
The question is, where would he have played? Because he's played absolutely pretty much everywhere apart from goalkeeper. He's played, hasn't he? Rangers chance there as well. It was Borna Barisic over the bar. Good play by Alfredo Morelos in the build-up. Motherwell have started well at Pittodrie, forcing an early corner against Aberdeen. That will be, you'd think if Motherwell start quickly, the Aberdeen fans will really get on the back of the team.
They've got to be on the backs of the players from the off, because they've watched Aberdeen go down 3-1 to St Mirren at home on Wednesday night. They've watched them lose 6-0. They've watched Jim Goodwin be treated like a thief in night, having to creep away from Easter Road rather than be confronted by fans. They've got to be in a temperamental mood. But fair play to John Rankin at Hamilton. The Ackies a goal up against Dundee.
I told you about 3 months ago that I watched Hamilton, and they've got young players and they just took time to adapt. They're actually not the worst team I've ever seen. They play some good stuff, and John came under a lot of pressure, but all credit to the board. They've stuck by him, and he's off and running again this afternoon.
Early yellow card for Alex Iacovitti of Ross County, just pulling back Alfredo Morelos as he was making a run towards the Ross County box. Hamilton 1-0 up against Dundee in the Championship. Connor Smith with that goal. Haven't heard too much so far from St Mirren against Hibs. Hibs with more of the ball early on. No chances at either end, but we do have one of these.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And there is a fist pump in the producer's box there, because it's a goal for Dundee United. Steady on you lot. 1-0 to Dundee United. Stephen Fletcher with the goal, and quick succession because we've got another one of these.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Joel Newbley with a point blank header. Livingston 1-0 up against Kilmarnock, so that's Dundee United 1-0 up at Tynecastle. Livingston 1-0 up at home to Kilmarnock, and that's the action really getting underway.
Well, I'm shocked at United, Hugh. Tynecastle, I watched United through the week. And for about 15 minutes, they looked like a decent side in possession. Then Stephen Fletcher misses a penalty and they crumbled like nothing you'd ever seen before. I just thought that was a bridge too far, go to Tynecastle, but what a start. Huh?
Crumbled like a flake.
Crumbled like
You've also got to look at Hearts. Everyone goes on about the defeat to Rangers, and justifiably because they were torn apart. They had a 0-0 draw with Livingston before that. At the moment, the wheels have come off ever so slightly for the team who like to think of themselves as the third biggest in the country.
The only good thing, sorry, and I say it in this programme regularly, and a lot of people appreciate it. If you're going to lose a goal, lose it early, especially at home. Hearts will have plenty of time to turn that one round.
Cliches have started already. Bit of a worry for Rangers there. John Lundstrom has been down for quite a while at Ibrox. Rangers do have men on the bench. A bit too early, would you think, for Nicholas Raskin? Or do you think he could be thrown straight in?
He's on the bench. And it's his position.
Paid good money for him, get him on.
Hasn't played for a while though. He's been sort of frozen out of the standard Liège team because he wouldn't sign a new deal. He is on his feet. You can
bring
Tillman. Tillman is coming on.
Yeah, I was going to say you can bring on Tillman, who scored midweek. You can bring on Kamara, who we had people calling in the show on Thursday night saying how well he played, and he's back to his usual self. So he has got options, there's no doubt in that.
Do you think it's the end for Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool?
2-0 down to Wolves already, 12 minutes in.
We were jumping up and down last Sunday, but the mighty Brighton put them out the FA Cup with a terrific goal in dying minutes.
Enough of that English football nonsense. We've got one of these.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Livingston 2, Kilmarnock 0. Bruce Anderson with the finish. Again, it was a Nicky Devlin cross from the right, and what a start that is for Livingston.
You wouldn't know where to turn for a crisis in this division, in the bottom six, because Derek McInnes said during the week that the decision to part company with Kyle Lafferty had nothing to do with him, and now they're 2 down already. They've got 23 points. In other words, with Dundee United a goal up at Tynecastle, it could be that Kilmarnock and Dundee United trade places at the bottom of the league. That is a shocking start.
Kelly all over the place, Roger Hanna says.
Problem they've got is they haven't got a striker that can score goals. Vassell and Doige are going through a sticky patch, let's say. They just cannot hit the target, and Roger was right that they rely heavily on Armstrong, who's a terrific player. But you need, like I say, Ross County, if you're at the bottom of the table, you need goal scorers to get you.
It was funny because I was talking to Mark just before the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and I said the one game I wouldn't like to be at today is Livingston. All of a sudden Roger's got a terrific game, 2 goals.
How big a concern would that have been on deadline day? Because you would have thought the Ollie Shaw deal was going through anyway, and then Derek McInnes is sort of sprung on him essentially. He said it wasn't really anything to do with him. Kyle Lafferty leaving, he said it was between Kyle Lafferty and the board. It didn't really give Kilmarnock any time to plan. They already had Ollie Shaw going to Barnsley. When you are in a relegation scrap, that's the last thing you need.
Yeah, on the face of it, they've taken the legs away from the manager, and the start that they've made to the game today would underline that point. Kilmarnock need not think that everything will be okay and they'll survive. They are very much in this relegation dogfight with Dundee United, with Ross County, with Motherwell. They are up to their armpits in trouble.
Boos from the Hearts fans, says David Friel.
It's a bit early,
yeah.
Oh, no.
Give it another 5.
Never too early.
Well, one thing's guaranteed, that the manager will be in the fourth official's ear about something. Even though we're only 13, 14 minutes in, Robbie Nielsen will be up to his old tricks, no doubt.
Well, he could do with a trick. As I say, 0-0 against Livy.
Big chance for Rangers. Todd Cantwell clipping the bar. It was a good curling effort from him. Tillman was through on goal, cut it back to Cantwell, and he was just unable to put that one in the back of the net. Rangers' first real chance of the game.
Well, fair play to Malky Mackay. They're 13 minutes into the game and they've had their own chances. So Rangers not getting it all their own way, but they will regret that. Cantwell, that would be a great start for him. Early in his Rangers career, nothing like a goal to enhance your reputation with the fans.
I think he's just playing a wee bit deeper now. Since Lundstrom's went off, Tillman obviously goes that more advanced one. Cantwell just a wee bit deeper, and that's where the chance comes from Tillman up further up the pitch. It just breaks to the edge of the box, nice and controlled. We've seen him score goals from there before.
Unlucky.
It is. Nice effort.
What minute did you have the Andy Halliday injury coming at today? Because he's been caught by Peter Pollitt, who's been booked. He is limping a wee bit, but I think he is playing on.
I've got him 64 minutes for the badge kissing performance.
If they're one down though.
But if it's raining, he'll be protecting that here.
He's all right now, says David Friel.
He's got a shower cap on.
And David Friel said he was going to have one of those sort of umbrella hats on as well.
He's the only player in the Premiership sponsored by the NHS.
David Friel says hair looking well, to be fair.
Is it grown in? I've not seen Andy.
I've seen a few photos actually. It looks as if it's going in all right. Yeah.
And does that stay forever?
No.
Do you think? No?
Nah, that'll fall.
It's only a couple of years you get
Is that based on any knowledge whatsoever, or are you just guessing?
I'm guessing. He'll
or have you really looked into this because you're tempted?
He'll wake up one day and he'll turn around and his pillow will just be a wig. I'll tell you now. Guaranteed.
I think he's surely got to play this back to him when he's in.
He's back on that. He's on that marathon budgie over to Turkey, isn't he?
We're just getting hair updates from David Friel at the moment. By the way, he's now saying Big Charlie's hair is magnificent.
He's never losing that. Big Charles.
Mind you, he must be envious because Todd Cantwell's got a fair old Barnett as well. You know, he could rival Charlie.
Yeah, good head of hair.
Ross County corner there, a wee bit of pressure. It has been end to end at Ibrox so far. Goal down the divisions. Connor Salmon scoring for Alloa against Peterhead. They're 1-0 up in that game.
What about the Palmerston Pep? How's he getting on?
I think it's still 0-0. I've not seen any goals go in from that game so far.
Well, Ross County, Malcolm Mackay has come down with a positive attitude. I think he still feels aggrieved from the last time they were at Ibrox when the Rangers player, I think it was James Sands, should have been sent off. He described the decision as inexplicable. And he's come down to try and do something that is good for Ross County rather than just park the proverbial bus.
Chance for Dundee United. They're playing well. Glenn Middleton shot saved after a silky move.
You know what? The inclusion of Pollitt, by the way, you mentioned just before we kicked off. Again, seen it the other night. He made a difference when he came on. For United, it was much more the Pollitt that grew up, and we've seen those driving runs and forward passes. That's what United need, that bit of drive. Too many players simmer in the middle of the pitch for them. Getting the rewards today for it.
I said at the top of the show, it's a big day for the bottom four, all away from home. You don't fancy Ross County, and as much as we say that Ross County are holding their own, they're doing very well, they're positive. Kilmarnock, you would probably say, unless you got a goal before half time, that's away from them. And then you're looking at Motherwell, Dundee United. They've got something to hang on to and maybe even add to at Tynecastle. Pressure pot just now for the bottom four.
Yeah, David Friel saying that Peter Pollitt has been really good in this game.
Good player. I remember playing against him when he was younger, kid, Aberdeen, and he's had a good career. Found his way back up the road, but he's got young guns ahead of him now. We've all been there where you think you can still mix it with the young guns. And
how old is he, Mark? I don't really know.
Peter Pollitt must be probably coming up for 30, just over 30.
30, you're a peak of your career at 30.
I wasn't. I retired at 31.
But you were different.
Yeah, 32, Peter Pollitt.
30, that was close.
By the way, this is how tight it is at the bottom with the way results are standing at the moment. Dundee United not only off the bottom but up to 9th.
Yeah.
The way it stands.
Yeah, and it's going to remain that way, I think, for the remainder of the season. I don't see anyone really getting cut adrift. I think that's what makes it exciting. Now, we always criticise, the standards poor, and look at the lack of wins in the bottom 4 or 5 teams, but look, we're going to have a real relegation battle right up to the final weeks, in my opinion, here. So, bring it on. It's good stuff. Might not be entertaining to watch, but entertaining for us in here.
It's not good stuff if you're a manager or a player or a supporter down that bottom end fighting for your career. It's a pressure pot, there's no doubt, and I think 1 or 2 clubs will start to feel it very shortly. Results are key. They need to start picking up results. That one at Pittodrie today, I think, is massive for both clubs.
You look at the financial aspect of it all. St Mirren dealing with too much debt and offloading players like Brophy just to get them off the wage bill temporarily, so they can cut costs. You look down the division, Falkirk, terrible problems there with money. That's why to drop out of this division and to go down into the Championship or even worse is a nightmare, a financial nightmare.
Arbroath 1-0 up against Wraith Rovers. Michael McKenna with the goal. Let's check in on that teaser, Hugh. Remind us of it.
Yep. What I want to know, once I find the piece of paper, can you tell me the last 3 players to miss a penalty in the league for Celtic and Rangers? Therefore, 6 players in total, 3 from each side. The last 3 to miss a penalty in a league match for Celtic and Rangers.
Let's go through some answers on Twitter. Kadzi says Barry Mackay.
No.
A token jester, he's gone for Kemar Roof.
No.
Matthew Breckenridge, he has said Yanis Hadji. Jermaine Defoe.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, still a bit of work to be done. Mick says David Turnbull.
Not there.
No, so
David Turnbull.
I think
quite a few wrong answers.
I think me and my partner in crime's doing all right here.
Yeah.
Is that right, Hugh?
Are we on the right?
How are they getting on, Hugh?
I think that's very positive.
Hide your sheet, Hugh. I can see the cheating from here.
They've got all the Celtic players.
Okay.
And 2 of the Rangers ones.
They have 2 of the Rangers.
Just one to go.
Just one to go.
Only 20 minutes or so in. That's not bad
Easy,
going from
easy
you two.
working.
But I'll tell you, there'll be a real one in there that you don't think.
Yeah.
Chance for Rangers. James Tavernier firing over. It was Malik Tillman that played the ball through to him. Quite a tight angle. Should he be hitting the target from there?
I think so. I think the quality that James Tavernier's got, Rangers fans would be expecting him to hit the target. You've seen him score for there a number of times. Tavernier's just such an interesting player. The divide that between Rangers fans, I don't know if it's a divide, but the feelings that some fans have towards him. Had a caller
about the captaincy.
About the captaincy again midweek, that he's just not a captain. And you think, well, explain that. Because I think fans don't see him grab people by the scruff of the neck and shout in their faces to think that's not a captain. But behind closed doors, you always hear the players speak glowingly about him and his influence in that dressing room.
Is that a common misconception? Have there been captains that you've had in your career that maybe aren't the loudest players in the dressing room, but just sort of lead by example?
Yeah, me. I won the double, being the captain of Wraith Rovers.
I'm amazed you guys won anything with you wearing the captain's armband.
Well, if they
were by your example, I'd be very worried what the rest of them are up to.
If you look back at Ibrox against Celtic, you'll see the guy going up to lift the cup with the armband on, and it is a dead ringer for me, let me tell you. And went on to win the league. So that proves I wasn't a shouter. I led by example, training the way I went about my business in early, last one to leave the building, that sort of thing.
Does that mean you were
for different
organising
reasons? So what were you doing in the building? I was there for the night. Who else was there?
Dale's not left the building.
If you were tasked with organising the team nights out, that's where we need to start worrying.
It's one of the great unwritten books of Scottish football. Gordon Dalziel, The Life and Lies of a Wraith Rovers player.
Did you ever get asked to write a book?
I couldn't write a book. You're joking.
Roger,
I
think there would need
would
to be a ghostwriter. Hugh, you could take up that man.
There we go. I would read that.
I tell you what, there'd be some interesting stories.
Oh
in there.
yes,
It would be.
And literally not one of them could be read out on this programme. Not a single one.
Andrew, you and I were just listening to one of his stories in the office before we came in here.
Would you like to retell us that? No. Right, your mics are going off. Here we go. Annan have a goal. They are 2-1 up. Tommy Goss with his second of the day. 2-1 up against Bonnyrigg Rose. Albion Rovers 1-0 up away to Elgin as well. Charlie Riley with the goal for them. Ben Davies has been booked for Rangers. Not a great tackle on Jan Danda, who's been in really good form for Ross County of late. Craig Sybil booked as well for kicking Robert Snodgrass.
It's amazing when teams like Ross County go to Ibrox and do not park the bus. And people will always say, well, teams park the bus because they're afraid of humiliation, they're afraid of 3, 4, 5. They haven't parked the bus. They've had plenty of chances in front of a goal. Quarter of the game gone, and it's still goalless.
It's a good game so far. Entertaining. Ross County given, they're all so far. But then, Rangers start creating chances, which is inevitable in this first half with the players that they've got. You just see players who automatically start retreating. I don't think a lot of that's to do with the manager sometimes. Players just on the pitch think, I won't go that extra 5 yards forward because I know somebody's going to spring off the back of me. So it's difficult. I've been there
Johnson,
before.
the Hibs manager, Mark, who said earlier in the season that players in Scotland are preconditioned, they're programmed. They don't think they can beat Celtic and Rangers.
To be fair, when you go to Ibrox and Celtic Park, it is a difficult task. We've been there before. We've walked in the shoes of these players. It is really difficult. But I think your best bet is when you go there to try and at least, if you get the ball, try and get up the pitch. If you can get up the pitch and your front men, and Malcolm Mackay's obviously identified that with the two strikers, get up the pitch, try and get your back men up a bit, try and get your midfield up, give them a bit of a rest because you're under pressure for most of the game.
Penn is on Twitter and he's coming up with a suggestion for the name of your autobiography, Gordon Dalziel. He says Gordon Dalziel leading by a nose.
Well, very good, Penn, big handsome boy. What I mean,
I was going to say we could get some suggestions on Twitter of what Gordon Dalziel's autobiography would be called, but I don't think we'd be able to read any of them out. So
I would like to hear some of them. Yeah, get a picture there as well, so people can have a go at your face.
We just turn into the roast of Gordon Dalziel.
Aye, we like that. That's a good idea for a Saturday.
I have not got a problem with that at all. If that,
your face says otherwise.
If that makes people happy, fill your boots.
Good effort from Alfredo Morelos. Header just wide from Borna Barisic's cross. And we're seeing the Rangers fullbacks have a lot more freedom, aren't we, since Michael Beale has come in? It's a lot to do with sort of narrow number 10s that he plays rather than wingers.
Well, I think that was to the detriment of the team. You know, taking away what Tavernier was good at and what Barisic had shown for years what he was good at, getting in the final third and having plenty of assists. All of a sudden that was just taken away. The wingers stayed wide. There was no room for the full-backs to move. Beale's changed that and it's working. You've got to say it looks better. The fans enjoy it much more than Van Bronckhorst style so far.
Well, I always remember a call to Super Scoreboard during the Van Bronckhorst era when a Rangers supporter said watching this team may cause drowsiness. That's not the case under Michael Beale. I mean, you're getting the energy that the Rangers fans wanted to see from their team and weren't getting under Giovanni.
Partick Thistle 0, Cove Rangers 1. Mitch Megginson with the goal there. Paul Hartley looking to try and turn things around.
Well, I certainly didn't see that coming, especially with the goals that Cove have been leaking. That'll be a difficult one, but I still fancy Partick to turn that round because I don't think Cove can keep a clean sheet.
Andy Halliday
off,
down again.
Honestly,
now look,
it was a pretty strong tackle
injuries
from Ryan Edwards.
Right, okay, well let him away with tackles like that.
Let's be honest, if anyone is allowed to lecture him on injuries, it's not going to be you, Mark Wilson, is it?
Nah, I had my fair share, mate.
You'd be next to him on the injury table.
I did. The problem, well, at least mine was the same injury all the time. I didn't pick up niggling injuries.
Andy loves a wee. If he's had a good couple of passes, he sees opportunity, get off, get an applause. You know what I mean? Kiss a badge. That'll be me okay for the following week.
David Friel says that tackle may get checked. We'll wait and see if it's an official
we'll
check
it back
or not.
Horrendous tackle.
Poor Andy.
Aye.
He's pointing to his ankle saying there's a stud mark on there.
Oh, well, it's a contact sport. He's got to get stud marks, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. There is a check going on, I think.
He's usually had the stud marks in his pants, to be honest with you, his shorts. The way he's played throughout his career.
I think, Callum, I think you should play this back.
Here we go.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
The referee has been summoned to the screen. Ryan Edwards' tackle on Andy Halliday. Just as you were all making fun of him for going down.
Poor Andy.
Could be serious foul play here.
Well, look, this
the sympathy comes out now.
actually means nothing because look at the tackles we've seen in just recent weeks.
Oh, how about this?
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 0. Stephen Kelly with the goal. That would be a huge result.
Well, I know it's a scoreline now, but it reads like a result. There's no way that Kilmarnock come back and do anything about a 3-goal disadvantage in the first half and not even half an hour played. This is a very serious day for that particular club and for the relationship that the manager has with those in the office above him, because you can't be saying I didn't know anything about the release of Kyle Lafferty. And now that's a pasting and that's a worry.
The check is done at Tynecastle. Ryan Edwards sent off. Straight red card. VAR check on the screen, and he's gone. Roger Hanna says Kilmarnock fans are already leaving the Tony Macaroni Arena.
To be fair, it's
at 3-0 down. That's half an hour into the game.
Yeah. How does he know they're leaving? He could be going to the toilet, going for something to eat.
3-0 down at the Tony Mac.
But you've paid your ticket money. May as well stay.
When the open line comes at 5 o'clock, I'll tell you the first caller will be Simon from Kilmarnock.
And they'll be out.
The thing about Derek McInnes about saying Lafferty was nothing to do with me, do you not think he's entitled to say that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm saying that does that drive a wedge between him and the people who employ him? How does it impact on the dressing room? This scoreline at the moment reeks of a club that's not well at the moment. And it could be even worse if this goes to a 4, 5, who knows what. It's a bad day, and as I say, you can turn to any part of Scotland and find crisis. There's a crisis building up at Kilmarnock, crisis at Motherwell, crisis at Dundee United, now down to 10 men but leading, and if Aberdeen don't get full points today, a crisis up there as well.
Stephen Fletcher now wearing the armband for Dundee United after Ryan Edwards go off. That could be big for Hearts, because David Friel, he'd said a couple of times the Hearts fans weren't happy with what they were seeing. They'll be hoping that they'll see a bit of a turnaround there against 10 men.
Conversely, it makes it worse if you don't get a turnaround against 10 men. That makes it even worse.
Not like you to have the glass half empty view there, Hugh.
Do you think I wear this black cloak for a joke?
I thought you were going to say cardigan there.
I am the Grim Reaper.
A header, Pollock for Aberdeen, flashed just wide from a corner. Still no breakthrough in that game between Aberdeen and Motherwell.
Well, that's the most unsurprising start of the afternoon, because both sides, plenty attacking talent on show at Pittodrie this afternoon, but two teams that are just ranked rotten.
How about this, by the way? Dimitri Mitchell scoring for Everton. Barely even kicked a ball up here in his last spell at Hibs, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Sorry,
Caldwell.
did I say Everton?
I was going to say what a move that would have been for him.
Exeter,
but that's Gary Caldwell's side, is it not?
Yes,
See, Gary, I see on social media, I think he's doing did he do the marathon round Exeter? He never struck me as a guy that would,
a half marathon tomorrow, I think.
Well, there you go. That proves my point. He was never a man that would do a full marathon. He wasn't that way inclined, should we say? So he's doing the half.
What are you trying to imply? He was lazy?
No, a very hard worker, but just he wasn't great at long distance running. You got those guys at training, Hugh, that were just good footballers, but as soon as the long distance running came out, weren't they interested? One standing right to my left in a minute.
That's why I led by example. I was
no
at the
chance.
Front.
I think you would have been one of the worst runners.
I had a lot of PBs in my under my belt in the football club. Let me tell you,
no chance.
You ask any player that played with me.
Right, take away the quick running. Right,
I was quick.
If they were following your lead, it would be like a game of Subbuteo. Everyone would just be standing still.
Not the case, Andrew. I think you've got the wrong opinion.
Were you good at long distance running?
Brilliant.
No, you weren't.
GBR vest.
Have you got your last name yet on the teaser?
Oh yeah, let's check in, see if there is any.
You had 5 out of 6 the last time I looked.
Yeah, go on, Hugh, give us a question again.
Tell me the last 3 players to miss a penalty in the league for Celtic and for Rangers. Half a dozen players, 3 from each team. Who were the last 3 to miss a penalty for Celtic in the league, and the last 3 to miss a penalty for Rangers in the league?
David Clark says Aaron Ramsey, but it is the league.
Yes, and that was
We're not
a
talking
European
about
final.
Penalty shootouts. Josip Juranovic, David Clark has also said.
Now, you would think so, but he's not there.
See any more? There are 3 rogue suggestions there. Bocanegra, Jelovic and Naismith.
Not there. Juranovic penalty miss, was that in Europe?
Yes, it was in the Champions League.
We were getting down that road as well, but very fortunate I turned.
How are you two getting on?
Final name? 5. No, that one, Hugh. No.
I think I know the Rangers one, but I can't remember his name.
So you don't know it then?
No, I do know. I can see him, and I just can't remember his name. I'm trying.
What does he look like? Describe him.
I'm waiting till he turns round so I can read it in the shirt. But
what number?
He was a big number. I'm listen, without giving anything away, was he a winger?
What do you mean without giving anything away? That's giving away whether he's a winger or not.
Was he a winger?
Right, okay. I can't remember his name.
Right, okay, around 5 minutes left at home to get your answers in for that one. Still no goals since we last checked in the top flight. Oh, they've got it. They've got it. I don't know why, I'm actually annoyed that they've got it as well.
Oh, yes. You set them up, I'll put them away.
On the podium for me and the Wilson this afternoon.
Good save by Liam Kelly to keep out the Ilber Ramadani's volley. Aberdeen pushing, trying to get the opener in that game. The only goals in the Premiership so far, Livingston have 3 of them against Kilmarnock. Dundee United 1-0 up away to Hearts, but Ryan Edwards has been sent off for the visitors after a VAR check.
What about that goal in England, Andrew?
Harry Souttar own goal on his Leicester debut.
I mean, what a time he's had. Wonderful World Cup, £15 million move, debut.
You
scored an own goal.
didn't you?
I did, aye. Dundee
You weren't
United.
very complimentary of him, were you?
Why?
Did you
No.
not?
He was a good lad. Good lad. He was a young kid at Dundee United, though. But
Dundee United getting a big chunk of that transfer fee as well, somewhere between £2 and £3 million. That's not bad going.
The criticism sometimes levelled at the previous regime, fans maybe eating their words a bit now when you see some of these big moves coming down the line.
Celtic Hearts 1-0 up against Falkirk. Callum Higginbottom with the goal for them.
Well, I can imagine there's unrest at Tynecastle, playing 10 men, still a goal down. Unrest at Pittodrie, playing a team who haven't won a game since October, and it's still goalless. And the unrest has already manifested itself at Livingston because, as Roger Hanna has told us, the away fans have started to leave. Kilmarnock 3 goals down, and we're still 10 minutes short of half time.
What will the feeling be like at Ibrox, Gordon Dalziel?
I think a bit of frustration, but I think sometimes, Andrew, if you're honest, you've got to give the away side a bit of credit. I think they look well organised. They've got 2 guys up top that are trying to get them out and take a little bit of breathing away from their defence, because you would imagine they'll come under pressure. But organisation for Malky, very, very good. The first goal's always an important one at Ibrox. If you can get to, Malky will probably have the game plan. If you can get to half time, 0-0, team talk's brilliant. You can get through the first 15-20 minutes, because you're probably thinking reaction coming from Rangers, obviously after Bale's had a word. Then you can look to think, yeah, we could maybe get something, maybe sneak something. But they've still got to get through those certain periods for me.
I think the problem at Ibrox just now is that it's all very predictable at the minute. Pass. If you look at the opposite side of the city in Celtic, when they play at Celtic Park, they have ample runners in behind creating space. They have guys on the wing who will take the ball and go past people. This first half hour at Ibrox, they're allowing Ross County to defend well, by getting back in their shape. So I think it'll need guys like Sakala and Kent just to take a few more chances.
Yeah, it's not quite the continuation of what Rangers did at Tynecastle. A lot of good forward play. Then Michael Beale was talking in the build-up, saying that Malky Mackay's teams always come and try and attack. I think automatically some people just kind of expect that if a team go to Ibrox or go to Celtic Park and open up and try and attack a bit, that they'll get picked off. But this has been a good example from Ross County so far.
Do you know what? We should be discussing Malky Mackay for the Aberdeen job, but people will not let him get over his past, for which he has apologised, for which he has undergone diversity training and all sorts. Malky Mackay deserves, with the greatest respect to Roy McGregor and all at Ross County, he deserves a bigger club than Ross County, but people will not let his past go.
Aidan McGeady with a free kick inches wide, 20 yards out. Just before that, Curtis Main bringing out a good save at the near post by David Marshall. Curtis Main, I would say, enjoyed his midweek.
Yeah, the man that's got a stand named after him everywhere he goes. Got his double at Pittodrie.
There's nothing original about that, by the way. I've seen it on Twitter.
Well, I don't go on Twitter.
You know what?
All week.
I've never seen it.
I'll give you. Don't worry.
I'm not letting him take credit for that.
No
chance.
I thought that was quite good.
Have you been waiting? How long?
I'm going. Andrew's no come in with the Curtis Main one. I don't know if I'll be able to get this in. But thank you very much. You're doing a grand job.
I don't see anything wrong with that. Curtis Main didn't feel that he was best treated at Aberdeen, and he made his feelings known when he scored both those goals. And Declan Gallagher gets the other one, and he didn't like what happened to him at Aberdeen, so he had the photograph posted on Twitter yesterday with the Aberdeen reject written on his coffee cup as he was sampling the coffee. So, you know, I don't see anything wrong with that. They're entitled within the bounds of reason and the parameters of the law, and don't do anything that we'll all regret. I don't see anything wrong with the celebrations.
Good drive from Malik Tillman there, rolled it across to Alfredo Morelos. He cut it back, but was just unable to get, I think it was Ryan Kent that was arriving in the middle, just wasn't able to find his man in the middle of the box.
I've got to be honest here. I'm a bit surprised that a man who's in good form, Morelos, doesn't take a shot at goals.
He's got to shoot. He's got to shoot. It's a terrific move.
It's a difficult angle, but he's got the ability.
Right, let's round up this.
The first half teaser.
With the ScottishSun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
The last three players to miss a penalty in the league for Celtic and Rangers were, for Celtic, Georgios Giacomakis, Callum McGregor, Odsonne Edouard. For Rangers, James Tavernier, Borna Barisic and Daniel Candeas.
Well, the listeners were quick on this one. Third place, Luke Skywalker McIntosh. In second place, Sean White. But the quickest off the mark, Dylan Patton. You get the bragging rights in the first half teaser, and you guys eventually got there as well.
Well, they didn't get there as quick as us. Me and Daz are streets ahead of the listeners.
We were right on that.
We prove that every week at Beat the Pundit.
We'll see if you can get the Who Am I in the second half. But before that,
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
goal for Aberdeen. A Duke header from close range. It was a Johnny Hayes cross, and Aberdeen have a goal in that game where both sides were going in with, I don't know, I think it was very nervous for both sides, wasn't it, heading into this game. But that will be a bit of a settler for Aberdeen.
Great time to score as well, because it sends you up the tunnel with cheers in your ears and not jeers. And for Motherwell, well, they were a mountain to climb, because it was always going to be difficult when you're a goal behind. It's even worse. So it's the first sign of light for Aberdeen in some time.
Bad miss for Dundee United there. 10 men, but they're still pushing. Stephen Fletcher, clean through on goal, fires over the bar.
You've got to.
That's a big chance when you're up against, when you've got 10 men. Sorry,
but you've got to say, you look at Dundee United down the bottom of the league. They should be doing a lot better with the squad they've got in the quality player. They've got some decent
6 internationals or something like that.
They've got some
in their team,
decent quality players there that shouldn't be down there fighting for their life. But let me tell you, Motherwell, I fear for Motherwell. I know that Stevie Hamill's been back, 9 new signings. To be fair, he did get people off the wage bill, get people out the door. I think maybe 7, 8 could be wrong in that, but I know he got a few people out. They just can't, but they can't buy a win. You can go and keep saying about they've not won at home, their away record's been not too bad, but lately they cannot buy a win. And you brought 9 players in, and I'm not wanting any manager to get sacked, let me tell you right now, but how long do you keep going if they lose today? And then what the argument is, well, what's the point getting rid of them when you brought 9 players in? But you can't win games and you've got to get relegated. Right now, Motherwell, to me, unless something happens dramatic this afternoon, are favourites to go down, because I'm not even inspired by their signings, to be quite honest with you.
4 1-0 up. Seb Ross with the goal. Half time between Queen of the South and FC Edinburgh. Marvin Bartley's side 0-0 at the break.
That was a classic.
It's time he's thinking about his position there, isn't it, really?
The big Marv?
Yeah.
Well, he left and Living are flying.
Yeah.
Think about it.
He's had 3 games now. How long do you need?
He's not broke in his tracksuit yet. Give him another couple of weeks.
I seen he was wearing his tracksuit again in here. You said that. He always wears his tracksuit.
He loves it. Tracksuit and a gallon and a half of water. That's all you see that big guy with.
The photo that Gordon put on, actually. You seen his big water tank just by him.
Honestly, if I drank that much water, I'd be sleeping in the bath.
I'm reliably informed. I'm reliably informed he turns up in his club car as well.
Oh, he's got a nice car.
Nice.
Yeah, QS are certainly spending the money. They've given him a nice car, petrol card and everything, Mark.
Good business that, huh? Didn't get that breaking.
Oh no, 46 red
What
to
were the
Glasgow.
perks, if any, that you got alongside being Brecon manager, apart from one free tracksuit that ended up in a charity shop?
What were the perks? Come back to me on that one, Andrew.
Watching teams score goal after goal every
Actually, it was
weekend.
always entertaining.
A payoff? Does that count?
There was no, certainly not. Certainly not.
I've dropped more down the back of the couch than you get paid off.
Johnny Hayes has gone off injured. Hayden Coulson coming on for him in that game. Aberdeen still 1-0 up against Motherwell. Should be close to the half-time scores in the Premiership.
Malik Tillman went very close for Rangers, a header just past the left-hand post. So, I mean, obviously Gordon used the word earlier on, frustration. That's what the Rangers fans will be feeling, but satisfaction is what Malky Mackay will be feeling. His team have come, acquitted themselves well, and it's still goalless.
Half-time at the Tony Macaroni Arena. Roger Hannah.
Half-time, Andrew. Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 0. David Martindale's men getting a standing ovation as they go off at the interval, having dominated Kilmarnock in a one-sided first half. They almost took the lead after 5 minutes. Stephen Bradley's cross from the right met by the head of Christian Montano at the back post, and it smacked off the bar. A couple of minutes later, Joel Newbley threatened, fine save by Sam Walker to keep the scoreline blank, but that only lasted until 10 minutes when Newbley scored a point-blank header after the Kilmarnock defence failed to clear Nicky Devlin's cross from the byline. It was Newbley's first start in 3 months, his first goal in 4 months, and it really set the tone for the first half. It was 2-0 in 12 minutes, an easy finish by Bruce Anderson across the goalkeeper from another Devlin cross for his 6th goal of the season, and that became 3-0 in 29 minutes. Newbley, this time the creator, a cut back from the left, it spun into the path of Stephen Kelly, who cushioned a fine right foot volley into the postage stamp corner to pile on the misery for Derek McInnes' visitors. At that stage, Kilmarnock fans were leaving the ground. Finally they got a sight of goal 3 minutes before the break, but Kyle Vassell could only hit the side netting. Then at the other end, Walker, fine save to deny Anderson a second goal before Danny Armstrong was booked for an off the ball clash with Boys. Just 2 points and no wins on the road for Kilmarnock this season. This might be a new low though. When David Martindale was 3-0 down at Parkhead at half time, he was trying to hail an Uber taxi. Just wonder if Derek McInnes is having similar thoughts. Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 0.
Yeah, what a half-time result that is at the Tony Macaroni Arena. There was a penalty shout for Dundee United. No sign of a check though, according to David Friel. Quite a bit of added time. Well, there's a goal at Ibrox.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Rangers 1, Ross County 0, and it's Malik Tillman with the goal set up by new boy Todd Cantwell, and Rangers have the lead on the stroke of half-time.
Well, it's a bitter blow for Malky Mackay. They had been going exceptionally well, Ross County, and you always want to get in goalless and then things look optimistic, but that's a real blow. Tillman, it's been coming for him. He had a header earlier on that went perilously close, and now a very good header again from Cantwell's ball in, and it's 1-0.
That'll be one of the reasons Todd Cantwell was brought in, because he gets to the byline and it's just a clipped ball into the 6-yard box. Sometimes you see players rush those, they maybe just hammer it hard and low, but he picks out his man there, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's not easy to do. Once you get in that position, especially when frustration has been building, it's easy just to thrash it across the face, but Cantwell, ever so clever, gets his head up, just a little dink, sees Tillman just about the penalty spot coming into 6-yard line, and Tillman puts that away, just what Beale wanted just before half time.
Yeah, how big is that, the timing of the goal as well? Because there would have been quite a bit of frustration, you'd think, from Rangers fans at not being able to get that goal in the first half, but getting it at that point is big.
Cliche for managers, it changes their team talk at half time. It's terrific play from Rangers. Ross County will be absolutely sick to the teeth, but it's terrific play. They let Cantwell into a position, dangerous position. He picks Tillman out. Terrific finish, great time to score.
Half time in Paisley. Fraser Wishart.
It is St Mirren 0, Hibernian 0. Deadlock at the breaks and pretty hard fought. Hibs probably had the better of the half, certainly better on the ball for long periods till St Mirren came back into it towards the half-time whistle. See, Hibs started brightly on the 8th minute, their first chance, a low shot on the angle by Ewan, a really good strike, low across the goalkeeper, and good save at full stretch to his right by Trevor Carson. Last week's hat-trick hero Josh Campbell tried his luck from 25 yards. His shot was deflected just wide, with Carson watching the ball. Then Jeggo had a goal-bound shot blocked in the 6-yard box by O'Hara. It took 15 minutes for Saints to threaten David Marshall's goal. Mark O'Hara with a shot wide from 20 yards. Then Scott Tanzer with a dipping volley. Struck it really well, but it was straight at David Marshall in goal. Real blow for Hibs when McCurdy, who started quite brightly on the right-hand side, went off in real pain. And Matthew Hopp, the young US striker on loan from Middlesbrough, came on for his debut. We've not really seen much of him on the left-hand side. Strong blustery wind, driving rain, not really helping the quality and the players on the ball, but plenty of endeavour from both sides. A bit scrappy period though, and Hibs was still with most of the ball, but we passed 30 minutes with no more real chances till the 33rd minute when Aidan McGeady was fouled 20 yards out by Scott Tanzer. McGeady himself dusted himself down, took the free kick and bent it over the wall, but inches wide, with Trevor Carson standing beaten at his left hand post. Then Saint responded. First time we really saw them as an attacking threat in any real sort of pressure period. O'Hara with a driving run set up Curtis Main, low left foot shot, turned wide by David Marshall at his near post, and then Main blasted over. Somehow Aidan McGeady on the right hand side inexplicably passed to Curtis Main, not a Hibs player near him. He drove forward 20 yards out, he shot well over, he had plenty of time. It was a pretty poor effort by the informed St Mirren striker. Stephen Robinson, probably a more animated manager, plenty of shakes of his head. I think he knows his team are going to have to play a bit more consistently and play a bit better in the second half if they're going to win this game. Half time in Paisley, St Mirren 0, Hibs 0.
Gabriel Antoniazzi has a half-time roundup at Ibrox.
Yeah, half-time here. It is 1-0 Rangers against Ross County. A huge goal from Malik Tillman on the stroke of the interval, heading in from 5 yards after a lovely clip across from Todd Cantwell. The Gers had struggled to find the final ball until that moment, and credit to County before that. They've not just come here to set in like we see so many teams do, and it has been a decent game. Both sides attacking. The first attack actually came 5 minutes in from the visitors. A slack John Lundstrom pass. Harmon and Brophy had 2 blocked efforts. 10 minutes later, Cantwell clipped the woodwork. Tillman put him through. The tackle popped back to Cantwell. A lovely curling effort, but it just went over. That seemed to be the theme of the half. Rangers just missing the final ball or missing a target when they do get opportunities. At one point, James Tavernier was slipped through, smashed it over the bar, albeit it was from quite a tight angle. And the best effort from that half came from Morelos. A really good attempt. He headed it just wide. A great ball in from Borna Barisic, who must be said has been putting in some brilliant crosses from the left-hand side. Tillman, who did come on as a sub for Lundstrom in that first half. He had some great driving runs, really kind of grabbing the grain by the scruff of the neck. He had a header just wide late on in the half, and you felt like perhaps it was one of those days, 0-0 at the interval. One of the first times we'll see that under Michael Beale, but not if Tillman had anything to do about it. There'd been about 2 minutes of pressure in the Ross County third, the ball just popping about, and you could sense that something was coming. The ball broke down the right just by the touchline, and as you said on commentary there, Andrew, so many players would just smash the ball across, but Cantwell looked up, saw Tillman, just clipped it, and as we've seen Tillman do so many times already this season, he kept his cool in front of goal and headed it into the back of the net. The County have threatened from a few set pieces, and they look like they'd be halting the host's impressive form, but not. Huge goal from Tillman gives Rangers control of the game at the interval. Half time here, it's 1-0 to the host.
Dave Galloway has the half-time story from Pittodrie.
Half-time at Pittodrie, Andrew. Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 0. Motherwell quickly out of the traps in this one, forcing a first-minute corner. Then at the other end, Duke twisted and turned in the box, and his shot was well saved by Kelly with his legs. You'd have hoped that would have set the tone for this game, but goalmouth excitement was in pretty short supply, despite plenty of effort from both teams. However, the home side gained the upper hand and went close, with Pollock flashing a header just wide after connecting with a corner kick, and Kelly got down low at his right hand post to keep out Ramadani's volley from outside the box. Hayes had lengthy treatment over on the far side after a head knock, but was initially able to continue, and in the 42nd minute he crossed for Duke to get up well and head the hosts into a thoroughly deserved lead. Just after that though, Hayes had to go off looking rather dazed. The Dons well on top and could be further ahead, but the Steelmen haven't mustered a shot on target yet. Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 0.
And last but not least, David Friel at Tynecastle.
Half time, Andrew. Hearts 0, Dundee United 1 for the second time in a few days. There is a lot of unrest at Tynecastle, with the Hearts fans hitting the boos hard at half time. United lead through Stephen Fletcher's goal. They've been the better team by a mile. They've been absolutely outstanding, but they are now down to 10 men after Ryan Edwards' red card. Liam Fox's United game plan, it was right before kick-off. Jamie McGrath was a crucial part of it. He limped out of the warm-up. Peter Pollock came in. United didn't miss a beat. He played a big part in a really impressive start by United, and they took the lead in 9 minutes. Craig Sibbald, he's been excellent as well. He found Ilmari Niskanen on the left hand side. His low cross picked out Fletcher. His first touch took him away from Kai Rose, and he then reversed his finish under Zander Clark. It was a great goal. United went for a second. Fletcher fired wide. Glenn Middleton, he's also been brilliant. He had a shot saved by Zander Clark. United looked so comfortable, but the game then changed in 29 minutes. Ryan Edwards went crashing into a tackle with Andy Halliday, and he did connect with the ball, but as soon as it happened you did wonder whether there would be a VAR check. Andy Halliday on the ground pointing at his ankle, clearly in pain. Nick Walsh, the referee, he got a word in his ear. There was a VAR check and Ryan Edwards was sent off, I assume for using excessive force in the tackle. Hearts did have a bit more pressure with the extra man, but United are still playing well and they should be 2 or even 3-0 up. Fletcher was sent free at the edge of the box but gets finish all wrong. Then Glenn Middleton again cracked the post after another great move. United faultless to a man, but Hearts have still got so much work to do. Hearts 0 and United 1.
Well, that is the story across the Premiership. I'll give you a full roundup of all the divisions next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores across the Scottish Premiership. Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 0, Hearts 0, Dundee United 1, Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 0, Rangers 1, Ross County 0, St Mirren 0, Hibs 0. In the Championship, Arbroath 1, Wraith Rovers 0, Hamilton 1, Dundee 1, Inverness 0, Morton 1, Partick Thistle 0, Cove Rangers 1. In League 1, Airdrieonians 0, Clyde 0, Alloa 1, Peterhead 0, Dunfermline 1, Montrose 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Falkirk 0, Queen of the South 0, FC Edinburgh 0. And in League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Annan 2, East Fife 0, Stirling 0, Elgin 0, Albion Rovers 1, Forfar 1, Stranraer 0, and Stenhousemuir 0, Dumbarton 1. We'll try and go back to Ibrox next.
League leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Second half's just kicking off around Scotland, and how about this already?
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 1. It was Christian Doidge bundling the ball home from close range. Was it you earlier on, Hugh, that was saying about Christian Doidge's goal?
Me. It was me. I'll take full responsibility.
But there will be one of these.
So it could be right.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's a VAR check. We have absolutely no idea what it's for. However, Roger Hannah tells us that the goal stands. The check didn't take too long, so it is Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 1, and what a time for them to get a goal.
Must have been a brilliant half-time team talk from Derek McInnes, got them fired up. Now we see where they go. Nick's goal is the important one. If Livy get it, forget it. If Kilmarnock get it, wow, game on.
Was this not like Livy away at McDermott Park not that long ago? Did they score 3 in the first half and then started losing a couple and made it more interesting?
Then finished 4-2 in the end there.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but listen, it's a response the Kilmarnock manager's looking for, isn't it? You know, get out there. He probably gave 1 or 2 of them a good roasting. Get out there, get a goal, get us back into this game. And Hugh's right. If they can get another one quickly, puts the pressure right onto Livingston. But I can't see it. I think home advantage. I think David Martindale will get his team together and they'll go on and win that game.
I don't think we're back underway at Ibrox. Gabriel, any sign of changes?
No, nothing yet, Gordon. We've got Nicholas Raskin.
Gordon?
Gordon!
The first one of the day. Should I even let him back in? Should I even let him back?
Keep him out.
Scrub him. Just scrub him.
Right, on you go, Derek.
I can't believe I've got the first one of the day, Andrew. Apologies for that. Nicholas Raskin, the new boy, is on the pitch right now warming up. Hopefully Rangers fans will get to see him in the second half. Doesn't look like there's going to be anything immediately at the interval. The Ross County players just running back onto the pitch here. They'll be so disappointed to have just conceded before the interval. Thought they could have got in at 0-0 and they put a real good account of themselves in that first 45 minutes. But a big one for Michael Beale. James Tavernier, the captain, just leading the players back out now. Just going to double check that it is the same 11 we had in the first half. And it looks like it, yep, so we'll be just as we were. Oh, looks like it'll be one change though for County. Simon Murray, number 17, looks like he's going to be coming on. Not quite sure who for yet, so it looks like it'll be one change for County at the interval. Apologies again, Andrew. How could I forget your name?
There we go. There is one change, and Simon Murray coming on, just looking for that extra firepower. Malky Mackay, Jordan White and Eamon Brophy not quite managing to get just one shot on target for Ross County in that first half. We'll be hoping with Simon Murray in good form, albeit for Queen's Park in the Championship, that he'll be able to add something at Ibrox.
Yeah, well, Murray's a bit of a live wire. He gets about the front line, he'll put defenders under pressure, and he can finish. But again, it's stepping up a level. You're at Ibrox now, you're in the Premiership, so slightly different. But I think Malky Mackay, his half-time team talk would be mainly positive. Keep doing the things that you're doing. Like I said, midway through the half, as soon as Rangers start getting a couple of chances, which they did, you automatically start retreating towards your goal line. And what happens? Rangers get to the byline, nobody matches the runner, and they're behind. But Ross County could
That's
be
the difference
pleased.
of the goal. That's the difference of the goal, because if he can get to half-time 0-0, that substitute's not getting made.
Eamon Brophy off, Simon Murray on. There's also a change for Hearts. Stephen Humphreys on for Forest, and a goal down south for Ryan Porteous. Watford 2-0 up against Reading. Ryan Porteous scoring. Is that his second appearance for Watford?
Yeah. He did play last week, didn't he?
At least, nothing left him out. But at least he'll know the accent when Alec Ray makes a comment
good
on
goal, Ryan.
Yeah, come here, you.
Might travel up to Scotland together.
I mean, he could well be a
Pep's a goal up.
There we go. Queen of the South 1, FC Edinburgh 0. Rory Payton, who's been in fantastic form this season, scoring another goal for Queen of the South. Airdrie 1-0 up against Clyde. Charlie Telfer. Airdrie have been going pretty well in League One this season, so an early goal in the second half for them and Queen of the South. But let's do this.
And now just a quick note from our podcast sponsor Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West. We are proud to announce that Lookers is now the new name for Taggarts. Taggarts has been part of the Lookers Motor Group for nearly 20 years, and over time, being part of one of the largest multi-franchise dealer groups in the UK and Ireland, has helped Taggarts to provide a great customer experience, value and choice to their customers across Scotland, and that's something that will never change. And now, they've decided though to change the name above the door to move forward as one. You'll find the same great service and friendly faces you've come to know at their Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms, working hard to give the best experience every time. You can now browse and shop online for your next car at lookers.co.uk and choose from thousands of used cars in stock with home delivery available. You can also discover the latest new car offers, book a test drive and book your next service online. Although the name has changed above the door, everything else is staying exactly the same, and you can still expect the same great service and friendly faces when you visit in store. Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Scott McDonald and Gordon Greer. I've been managed by Tony Mowbray and Billy Davies. I have played for a number of Scottish sides and for a team on a different continent. My only domestic honours were won in Scotland. Who am I? So, I played alongside Scott McDonald and Gordon Greer. Been managed by Tony Mowbray and Billy Davies. Played for many Scottish sides and for a club on a different continent. My only domestic honours were won here in Scotland. Who am I?
Remember, that is on Twitter if you want to have another look at it and get your answers in at Clyde SSB. And remember, it's a race as well. You want to be on that podium, you want to be top of the podium, so get your guesses in nice and quickly. Was that an early guess from you, Gordon DL? You've been in good form, I think, haven't you? With the Who Am I?
Wrong one.
Well, we'll see.
But look,
how are you getting on at these, Mark?
No, he's got one wrong guess.
Great, Andrew. Yeah, one wrong guess. So
we're allowed one guess wrong each.
And the next one will be it. Is that
we're
it?
We're right on the button.
Clarifying this now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see. There is a couple of guesses.
Already?
A couple of guesses already. One is the exact same guess as yours.
It's wrong.
It is. I'll say it. Stephen Pearson. It's not Stephen Pearson.
And it's not.
By the way, Stephen Pearson says Jamie Ewings, says Greg's Gardens, says James McKenna. A very popular answer, but a wrong answer. I'll read some of those other wrong answers. By the way, quite a few answers in already. None of them correct so far. None of them correct. Stop tweeting Stephen Pearson at us, because it's still not him. Still not him. Brian Malarkey, Scully as well, all saying him. not Stephen Pearson. I can categorically say that.
What did Mulder say? If
And
Scully
now,
said,
I don't know whether I've started something because more people are just saying Stephen Pearson.
Now, when I think about it, if Hugh had continued with, I left Mark Wilson for dead at Celtic
No way.
Park.
No way.
Mark
Have
Wilson's
that.
with it.
Let's see.
You got it? Oh, he's got it already.
Oh, I should have got that. That's quite easy.
By the way, you have it before anyone on Twitter.
Well, I told you, Andrew, earlier on.
Okay,
Me and
well
Gordon
done.
are usually smarter than the
But thankfully,
the listeners.
Mark Wilson cannot go on the podium. So you can still get top of the podium out there. Tweet in your guess at Clyde SSB. You can see the full Who Am I there. Mark
quite
Wilson
easy.
wins the
Yeah,
race
it's
in the
quite
studio.
easy.
Yeah,
I
when
can't
you put
believe
that
people have
Jackson,
not got it.
and I'll tell you what, you got that brilliantly. 'cause
Thank you.
I was on your tail. I was going to get that as well.
What's happening around the grounds? Marcus Fraser booked for a foul on Ewan. Stephen Humphreys has already had a shot saved and also been booked as well for a tackle on Charlie Mulgrew. He's barely been on the pitch as well. All action for him. Robert Snodgrass going wide from 20 yards out. So Hearts really coming out the traps quickly.
Do you
and you'll feel
remember
they need to be.
90 minutes ago, Fraser Wishart saying, goals here, could be 3-2 kind of game?
Why does he do it to himself? Because
Hold on, stop a minute. I remember 2 hours ago, the man to my right said 4-5-0 at Ibrox.
Yeah, plenty of time.
So there's still plenty of time for Fraser to get goals at.
I'm merely pointing
Paisley,
out
okay.
that at this juncture, the only game in the Premiership without a goal is St Mirren versus Hibs, attended by the Right Honourable leader of PFA Scotland, Lord Wishart.
It almost seems inevitable when Fraser goes to a game that it's going to be goalless. There's been a red card for Stirling Albion. Cameron Clark sent off, second bookable offence, 53 minutes in, so they'll be playing the rest of the game with 10 men. And Gordon DL just about to give away a clue on the teaser there. Don't say anything. Don't say
I
anything.
don't need a clue. I've already got it.
Is that where you got that from?
No, I got it from my brain. I put the
No
clues
one
together.
else. No one else has it yet.
Still no
Fraser
one else.
Wishart says his resignation is in the post.
Well, let me repeat it. I've played alongside Scott McDonald and Gordon Greer. I've been managed by Tony Mowbray and Billy Davies. I played for a number of Scottish teams and for a club side on a different continent. My only domestic honours were won here in Scotland. Who am I?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of wrong answers coming through. We'll get through a few of those. You have cursed Peter Pollitt. He's off injured.
Off injured.
Yep,
Yeah.
off injured. Arnaud Tume coming on for him at Tynecastle.
Well, I think at Tynecastle the mood will be a bit awkward because this is not in the script. This is the third game in a row where Hearts have so far failed to score, and they're playing 10 men and they're losing, and that doesn't look good.
Yeah, you've got to love how unpredictable our league is because you look at that fixture, and I said before that Dundee United awful midweek, look like there's only one way for them, and they go one up, but then go down to 10 men, and they should have extended their league lead on a couple of occasions. And we've chatted about Hearts all season, how good they've been, and then all of a sudden they've hit this wee sticky patch that the fans are booing them after 10 minutes, was it today?
Yeah.
Strange how things can turn so quickly in this league.
Almost a fourth for Livingston. A double save by Sam Walker, Fitzwater and Nubley with the chances.
There'll be more goals there. I think Rodgers picked the best game. I did think I heard Fraser saying game of the day, did he not?
Yes, he did.
He did say that as well. Yeah. Oh dear. Surely you should know by now. Just
No.
Talk the game down, Fraser, and hope for the best.
No. It's a noble tradition. We never learn. We go from one mistake to the next with no loss of enthusiasm.
Got to get that in a t-shirt, Hugh.
Yeah.
That slogan. And make that your uniform every
I've got it
every
on
Saturday.
Some Clyde One Super Scoreboard merch.
Aye,
Hugh's
yeah.
face on it. There we go.
I think there's mileage in that. I think we could get a few quid out of that.
Or you could get like a Hugh cardigan with the slogan on the back. I think
Aye.
that would go down well.
Keevins 001.
Imagine having your photo Hugh on your t-shirt.
I tell you
You
yesterday,
wouldn't need
Mark,
it in your t-shirt and you'll got them up face
five-
off to a
the-
perfect picture.
the 5k minute on the George Bowie.
By the way,
My wife,
that was good.
no faith in her husband at all, locked herself in the bathroom until it was all over in case I embarrass myself.
That's the kind of supportive relationship you need.
Well, Hugh?
I got a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 is brilliant.
What was the one you didn't get?
Some KSI, whoever she is, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a YouTuber.
Is he?
Yeah.
Goes on YouTube and
9 out of 10, mate. That's brilliant. Well done.
that's good. Because you hear some of the dumplings that are on it
I
midweek.
knew that Jaws Bowie would slip in something of that nature.
That's a bit cruel, asking Hugh Keevins a question about KSI, a YouTuber.
Well, KSI's into a bit of everything. He's a musician. He's a
actually, I was going to say he's into all the things that Hugh's not, but boxing. There's a crossover. Yeah.
No, but see, when he said KSI, I thought he was talking about a food chain. Yeah. I thought it was a chain of restaurants.
An off-brand chicken restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, my answer was Ed Sheeran, which was wrong.
Well, that's decent for a man of your age to pluck Ed.
You don't even know what the question was, do you?
Yeah.
Neither
it's
did
got
I.
to be something to do with a drink, was it?
I can't remember
that drink that people were going
that
nuts
time
for.
I was giddy and wondering why my wife was locked in the bathroom.
Which influencer rapper is behind the drink prime? I'm told was the question. That is not the question for Hugh Keevins.
No.
Maybe Ed Sheeran wasn't a good shout then.
I had to ask Mark Wilson earlier on what prime meant, and he explained to me it was a drink.
Well, it's either a drink
did the
or
question not say drink,
TV
though, surely?
subscription service, because you get the movie subscription service Prime. Aye.
Hey, David Friel just giving us a weather update, getting absolutely soaked at Tynecastle as we all expected. Dundee United still 1-0 up against Hearts there.
It could be worse. It could be Robbie Nielsen. So we'll see how Greetenface takes this if it finishes up 1-0.
How harsh is the reaction from the Hearts fans after 10 minutes when their team hadn't scored a goal, booing? The fact that Hearts obviously struggled earlier on in the season, but they had a really busy schedule with the Europa Conference League. Robbie Nielsen always seemed positive that they would manage to turn things around and kick up the league when they didn't have as packed a schedule. It's happened, but is not beating Dundee United at home, is that enough to turn the supporters?
Well, they've set a high bar, and that's to their credit. And also, these supporters pay fortunes. The Hearts Foundation, they saved Hearts, they keep Hearts going, they are Hearts, it is their club, so pay your money.
It's the pressure of playing at a big club. You know, when you don't get results or you do go behind at home, you're at a big club because you should be able to deal with that sort of reaction. The fans will be harsh on you, but they will push you. But if they go too behind here, then
they can't afford to. They can't afford to lose a goal. They've got to get back into the game. I think Hearts will. I think it'll be a struggle for them today, but I think they'll get back into the game.
A big roll of the dice for Stephen Hamill. 3 changes. Off go Obika, Aitchison and Goss on come. Van Veen, Danzaki and McKinstry. Van Veen, he likes playing against Aberdeen.
He does.
I think he's scored more goals against Aberdeen than any other club.
That's why I'm so surprised today. See, if you're a manager and you've got players have got certain, especially centre forwards. You look at Morelos. What is it? Is it Kilmarnock? His favourite one is he bangs them in left, right. You wouldn't go to Kilmarnock and leave Morelos out and put him on the bench, especially when you need a result, because you know that this guy likes score. All strikers do. You always had teams you like scoring against. Van Veen likes Aberdeen, and I wouldn't be surprised if he finds the back in it.
Where does that come from as a striker? Because he scored against Aberdeen when they've had various different managers, they've played different systems, it'll be really different circumstances. Is it sometimes just the thing in a player's head that going into the game, because they've scored previously against these sides, they just have an extra confidence about them?
Absolutely, yeah. You just have something about you know that if you go and ask all the top strikers, they've scored plenty of goals, they'll always pick a team that they say, on that day I fancy scoring against him. Didn't matter the formation, didn't matter the players, it was just the name for some reason, whether it be Aberdeen, whether it be a Kilmarnock or whatever it may be. And I was surprised today. I would have played Van Veen just for that sole reason. I know it sounds silly, but just for that sole reason.
Inverness have equalised against Morton. Billy Mackay with the goal. No second half goals at Ibrox, but there is a booking for Fashion Sakala, just going in late on Harmon there, just stretching to try and get the ball back, and unable to. He was just late on that one.
Yeah, I think right decision there. Yeah, just late, just catches him. But it's kind of similar pattern at Ibrox to it was majority of the first half, where Rangers obviously majority possession, Ross County still playing open. They're certainly not parking the bus at all, so that's to be applauded again. I would certainly bet on a second Rangers goal coming shortly. Just the way they're playing, I wonder if we'll get to see Raskin anytime soon. I wonder if it's in Beale's mind to make a change.
I don't think it 1-0.
No, to liven up the place.
Well, your problem is, what if he doesn't? And what if Ross County were to equalise? Then he's associated with a draw is a disaster, a defeat is a catastrophe.
So this looks like an example of VAR not being used properly at the Smiza Stadium, because Fraser Wishart says a St Mirren player kicks the ball, it then lets Chris Cadden through in behind the Saints defence, but he's then flagged offside. Lee Johnson not happy at all. The flag needs to stay down there. And then even if the official wants to flag afterwards, if the ball goes in the net or the chance afterwards, at least the play has been given the chance to
That's
go
an
through.
error. An error from the assistant referee. It's got to be an error from the referee, because the referee should know, even if his assistant flags, that no, let this run and we'll take it back. So
I said
that's a human error.
Before the game started, I said to you, the last thing that Lee Johnson, the Hibs manager, needs to hear is that Willie Collum is the video assistant referee. The man who sees things that nobody else sees, who hears things that nobody else hears.
This has nothing to do with VAR. This is just human error on the pitch. This is just a flag that should have stayed down from the assistant rather than anything that VAR has
didn't even get to Willie.
Yeah,
no, by this
Come
stage.
On, Hugh, I think you should always start with Willie and what Willie did.
That's Daz's favourite
saying.
Go on,
defend him.
I think Hugh owes Willie an apology for that one. It was nothing to do with him. It was a bad decision from the assistant referee.
Dunfermline 2-0 up on Montrose. Craig Whiten with the goal in that game. Andy Halliday is off. He's taken a couple of knocks.
Yeah.
Not sent off, injured, but there you go.
There you go.
To be fair, I don't know if it is an injury, but he has taken a couple of knocks in this game. George Grant is on 60 minutes gone.
You
did guess that. That is better than your score prediction.
I don't know if the ovation would have been there. I'm not sure.
No.
It's not the same when you're 1 down against 10 men. I don't think
is that just
the same.
head down straight off the pitch? No clapping,
shaking your head like you're so disappointed and angry at your teammates.
No head and shoulders.
Is that you giving the game away? It's all just an act. You just act how
we're performers.
No, a big limp. You've got to have a limp, a real good limp. If you're getting subbed, you know you're getting subbed. The one thing you do is you
injured,
start.
says David Friel. Not injured, so he's not doing the fake limp that you used to do. Gordon DL.
Silly.
He's just been rejected.
Ejected.
And rejected.
There was nothing worse, was there? See, coming off early into the second half, or even worse than that at half time. I remember getting hooked at half time for Celtic against Hamilton. Because remember Simon Menson? Remember we saying Simon at the entry?
Yeah.
So Simon was playing for Hamilton at the time, right wing back. I was playing left back, and what a terrible first half. And Gordon just said to me, "You just stay in for the second half." Put Barry Robson on my place. We ended up winning the game.
I think we've just had an insight into what your scouting was when you were at Airdrie. It was just sign guys that maybe played well against you once when you were a player. Was that?
It was Kyle Hutton as well.
With some squad.
Sign guys you've heard of.
We were like Chelsea.
Their transfer window was incredible.
Change for Rangers. Fashion Sakala off, Glenn Kamara on. So is that Todd Cantwell pushing further forward again?
You would think so, wouldn't you? Pushing for that second goal just moments ago. Good ball across from Kent. You really want Morelos in between the posts there. That just goes out the back post area. But Bale will want the second goal just to relax people. 1-0 again. Been there before. You're thinking, anything can happen here.
Yeah, exactly. You when it's 1-0, you're running the risk of the sucker punch.
East Fife have equalised against the 10 men of Stirling Albion in that game. And Glenn Kamara coming on is an interesting one, because Michael Beale was talking during the week about how he feels Kamara and Raskin are similar types of players. He said they're not exactly the same player, but he sees them in a similar mould. So that would look as if Glenn Kamara sort of coming on instead of Nicholas Raskin, because I think he said the two could play together, but they're maybe more similar than other options they've got in the midfield.
But Kamara's been in good form, and he scored in midweek, and I thought he'd won his best games for Rangers. The positive thing for Rangers just now is the 3 guys that scored midweek against Hearts.
We'll get back to that because there's one of these.
With Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Aberdeen 2, Dundee United 0. Motherwell. Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 0. Piling the pressure on Stephen Hamill. It's Bojan Miovski with the goal. A great through ball by Ramadani. Almost a goal for Ross County there.
What a save
as well.
this.
A good save by John McLaughlin. A lot of talk about the Rangers goalkeeping position. Well, John McLaughlin had to be alert there.
That is a good save.
Yeah,
That's a very good save. As I said to you, at 1-0 you're susceptible to the sucker punch, and that was almost it.
I think he's a bit fortunate it's right down the middle of the goals. I think if that's at either side, they're really asking him a question, but take nothing away from him. He gets a good hand on it and keeps the ball out in it. Go back to Motherwell. I have no idea where they're going, what they're going to do. I think the way things are, they'll get massive decisions to make, because right now I do not think the fans have got faith in the management team. It's been a difficult introduction to management for Stevie. I know that he's brought in 9 players. What do? You backed him in that situation. Wraith Rovers next week in the Cup, and then 2 home games, which are going to be so vital. St Mirren, I think it's Hearts at Fir Park. It's just where they can't win a game. In fact, they can't win a football game just now. I don't even think they'd win the toss. So they're really struggling.
A big one of these at Ibrox.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
We said it, he loves scoring against Rangers. Jordan White makes it Rangers 1, Ross County 1. It was a Jan Danda cross from a short corner. Jan Danda's been in really good form for them. The cross comes in right footed. Jordan White rising the highest, gets above John McLaughlin, and it's 1-1 at Ibrox.
Keepers away, as it said. You could hear it from here. It's a good ball in. Jordan White's always a danger in the box. That's going back to what I'm saying. Jordan White likes scoring against Rangers, but the goalkeeper, question marks there for me.
Oh, without doubt. It is a decent ball, but when you come that distance, you have got to make sure you make it. And McLaughlin, nowhere near it. Yeah, you've got to make that. You've got to get in front of White there. He's actually behind him, and White just nods it in. So,
but also, if you're looking at it from a Rangers perspective, the defenders are poor. But see, if you're Ross County, that is absolutely terrific. It's a well worked corner, short corner, good ball in. They move the angles of the cross, and Jordan White just rises above there and puts his head on it towards goals and gets his.
Got to say, you're right. See, the corner's well worked, right? But if you're defending against that, I think there's got to be more urgency from your defenders to get out and stop the cross. Kent and Cantwell just sort of like, we'll just jog out here and go and throw the ball into the box because we'll. So they need to do better as well.
Well, Malky Mackay reacting to that straight away. Jan Danda, who set up the goal, more of a creative midfielder, is off. Ross Callaghan on. So that's a more defensive change in midfield.
How's that for you? Just putting a great ball and, come sit next to me.
But I think that's good in-game management from Malky Mackay. He understands that the whole dynamic of the afternoon's changed now, and he has to react accordingly. As I say, I've said for the last couple of seasons, with regard to the 2-horse race for the title, a draw is a disaster and a defeat's a catastrophe.
That just now for Rangers fans is a real poor result. Nothing away from Ross County. They come off the back of all the pats in the back in Wednesday night. They were terrific against Hearts. You know what I mean? Hearts were second best. I thought Rangers let Hearts off lightly. They could have probably put them more to the sword. And they go to Ibrox today against a Ross County team that's, they've picked up a couple of results in the last 3 games. I think it's 1-1 and 2 draws. But get the goal at half time. You're looking at more goals in the second half. All credit to Ross County. So far, terrific from them.
You don't see this all the time. Brian Graham sent off for foul and abusive language.
Big Woody for Toy Story. Oh,
one of these.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Well, if you were worrying for Stephen Hamill before, you'll be worrying even more
It's not
now.
three, is it?
Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 0. Bojan Miovski with his second of the game. Coulson and Clarkson combining to set the goal up, and it goes from bad to worse for Motherwell.
Well, Motherwell have a decision to make, and Gordon Dalziel spoke about it earlier. It's going nowhere other than in a downward direction. They are in a downward spiral. They have not won a game since October, and you have two choices. You either change the manager now and see if you can get some sort of reaction from a new manager, or you leave Stevie Hamill and take the gamble.
How tough a decision is that? Because we've had Motherwell fans on the phone this week saying that they don't want Stephen Hamill to be the manager anymore. They don't think he can help them avoid relegation. But he's been backed in the transfer market as recently as this morning, as recently as last night. 9 signings for them. Can you let him bring in 9 players and then just let him go that quickly?
I'll answer just quickly. Seeing this football game, it's supposed to be a results-driven business, right? That's what you are judged on. Now, in my time in management years ago, if I'd have went through, I would never have lasted this. I'd have been out the door, I'd been sacked. I was very fortunate, I was good at my job. But
and humble as well.
Yeah, Stevie Hamill, you can forget all the Motherwell legend, because that will never be taken away from him. He's serving as a player. We are now judging him as a manager of a football club that right now looks like they're going to be in the Championship unless something dramatic's done. I do not know the fact that 9 players in backed him. If you're still losing games, and I know it's only the first game and he needs players to get up to speed and he needs players to get worked with because the transfer window only shut a couple of days ago. But when do you actually draw a line and say, right, we cannot go further than this because it's only going one way? You're getting relegated. It's as simple and straightforward as that.
What's the script behind the scenes at Motherwell in terms of recruitment and bringing players in? Because I think that hinges a lot on it. If Stevie Hamill and Brian Kerr have sat down, these are our targets, and went to Burrows, there you go, and they've sanctioned them all and brought them in, then it doesn't make sense. But I get results-driven business. But if it is a head of recruitment that have come up with these targets and it's been a board decision.
We'll get back to that in a second. We've got a goal.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Hearts 1, Dundee United 1. It's Lawrence Shankland with the goal. They're back level against 10 men. Took a deflection, but Lawrence Shankland, left-footed, finds the net. Hearts back level.
Who cares? Deflection doesn't matter. It's a leveller, and it's a relief for Robbie Nielsen, because you can only get away with so much when you're playing against 10 men. I'd be very surprised now if Hearts didn't go on and win this.
One of these as well.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
The referee is taking a look at the screen at Pittodrie for a possible handball by, I think it's Matty Kennedy, is it?
Penalty.
For a potential penalty.
Handball, oh, this will be another one to add to the collection. If it is given, it's, well, look at this in comparison to others that haven't been given. And if it's not given, there'll be the opposite side of the argument.
There is a VAR check as well.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And that's for Hearts' goal. Ooh. Potential offside in the build up to that one. So Hearts may not be level. We'll get the updates from both those games from Dave Galloway and David Friel. A potential penalty at Pittodrie, and we'll see whether Hearts' goal stands.
Can you imagine?
Well. Still waiting, says David Friel.
Interesting ones, those ones offsides, because it just led to believe offside's offside, and it's pretty black and white. The lines are drawn pretty quick over, but must be a wee bit more to that one, that offside.
Can you imagine Robbie Nielsen?
He'll be sent off.
Penalty to Motherwell.
Oh, right, okay. Be interesting.
So they have a chance to get one back, 3-0 down against Aberdeen, and Motherwell have the chance to get one back from the spot. Kevin Van Veen does love scoring against Aberdeen. We'll see if it is him to take this one. Quite often does take their penalties. Dave Galloway will keep us updated from Pittodrie. Still waiting at Tynecastle, and you can imagine how frustrated the supporters will be there, because they don't know whether Lawrence Shankland's goal is going to stand or not.
And well, of course they will know what it's for. Checking for offside.
Checking for possible. It'll come up on the screen The goal stands. Lawrence Shanklin scores 21 in all competitions this season, and it is 1-1 between Hearts and Dundee United. Rangers have hit the bar. Ryan Kent rattling the bar, left-footed shot for him. Rangers trying to get back ahead after that Jordan White equaliser. Still 1-1 at Ibrox, waiting for that penalty as well. Kevin Van Veen steps up to take.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And he gets another goal against Aberdeen. In a word, Hugh, anyway back for Motherwell?
No. It's a consolation goal. We go back to the earlier discussion, and Gordon was quite forceful about it all. Either change the manager now, or accept that you are gambling with your fate, because the club, the team, is on a downward spiral.
Yeah, we did get interrupted in the middle of that Motherwell debate. Some of the players that have been brought in, Stephen Hamill hasn't even had the chance to use yet. Dan Casey came in last night, not in the squad today. Callum Butcher signed. A lot of Motherwell fans were saying they needed a bit of steel in midfield. He's been brought in and hasn't been able to be in the squad today. Will he feel hard done by if some Motherwell fans get their wish?
No, because I think he'll still get an opportunity. As Mark says, I don't know who actually...
I'll interrupt you there.
Thank you.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Rangers 2, Ross County 1, and it's Borna Barisic with the goal and another goal.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Fraser Wishart has a goal at the Smythe Stadium, and it's Hibs that take the lead. That long unbeaten run in Paisley that St Mirren have is under threat, and just before that, of course, Borna Barisic scoring a free kick. Rangers back in the lead at Ibrox.
Well, it's a known goal. It is the
It depends whether it was on target or not. It's heavily deflected, but if it still counts, if the ball was going on target, it'll still count as Borna Barisic's goal.
Mark Wilson, my learned friend, the goal has gone in at the other end with the goal that Borna Barisic was aiming for.
That's not the
You're
point.
also asking the wrong people, because these are two men that would absolutely claim that goal under any circumstances.
That's like most of my goals here.
That will still, no matter how big the deflection is there, that will still go down as a Borna Barisic goal, because it was going towards the target initially.
It doesn't matter who scored it anyway. I mean, it's a vital goal for Rangers, because they were flirting with the disaster of a draw.
That's a sickener for Ross County, but
what a quick turnaround this is.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Hearts 2, Dundee United 1, and it's Alex Cochrane with the goal in that game. They're making the man advantage count at Tynecastle. The Hearts fans were booing earlier on in the game. They were 1-0 down to Dundee United. Ryan Edwards sent off, but now a good left-footed finish by Cochrane means Hearts have turned things around.
Well, that's Dundee United in a nutshell this season. You know, when things are going well for them, fine. As soon as something negative goes against them, they crumble, and Hearts will go on and win that one. But he was right, Rangers slice of luck about the goal, no doubt about it, but doesn't matter how they go in. Sometimes you need to win scrappy. I do think the Rangers fans might be underwhelmed about this afternoon's performance. I know we're giving credit to Ross County, and we should, but after the promise of what they saw midweek against Hearts, I think a lot of them would have went along thinking, right, we've now got the performances to match the results, and that will continue. It's not been the case this afternoon. There's been decent stuff, but it's not been anywhere near what was Tynecastle midweek.
Yeah, I mean, how much can Rangers fans really complain about performance when Michael Beale is, on the verge, 15 minutes away from going, what would that be, 12 games unbeaten as manager, 11 wins?
Listen, you never doubt fans. We were talking about Hearts were something like 10 undefeated, lost to Rangers after 15 minutes today at Tynecastle. They were getting booed. Look, the fans are happy in the fact that Beale's come in. He's won every game apart from one, drawn against Celtic. I thought his performance, the team's performance Wednesday night, was a step in the right direction. He's brought in some new signings. I think most Rangers fans are happy with them. It's not been the greatest afternoon for them, but I think they'll accept that Ross County takes a bit of credit. They're still winning 2-1. It's another 3 points, and it's up to Celtic tomorrow.
Yeah, that flurry of goals means we have basically not thought about the teaser at all. The second half teaser, Hugh, give us that again.
I have played alongside Scott McDonald and Gordon Greer. I've been managed by Tony Mowbray and Billy Davies. I have played for numerous Scottish teams and for a club on a different continent. My only domestic honours were won here in Scotland. Who am I?
Get your answers in at Clyde SSB, and I'll be disappointed if you don't get it at home because Mark Wilson got it within a minute. I think let's go through some of the answers. Big Rab says Aaron Ramsey.
No.
Thomas Leahy says Chris Killen.
No.
James Milne says Charlie Mulgrew.
No.
There's a few more for Chris Killen. Craig Keatings says Marwan Zamama.
No.
A shout for Johnny Russell from Brendan Lally.
Stop shouting.
Cameron Hamilton says Stephen McManus.
No.
And Russell Boyce says Willow Flood.
No.
Plenty of wrong answers on that teaser, although there are a few getting it right as well. So yeah, not too bad. There has been a goal there for Morton, 2-1 up against Inverness. Robbie Muirhead with a goal in that game.
Yeah, what result that would be for them?
Yeah, leapfrog Inverness. Inverness sitting 5th and Morton 6th respectively in the Championship, so that'd be a leapfrog from Morton.
Really exciting league, isn't it? You look at Queen's Park, what a huge result for them last night against Ayr United, 2-0 leapfrogging them.
Yeah, so I was disappointed for my old club there. I was really cheering them on last night, hoping they'd get a victory.
I've never met a more bitter man than you about your old clubs.
Were you not along at Oakleview? No, watching the game?
I wouldn't go near. I wouldn't go. Listen, if they were playing down the back of my house, I'd close the blinds. Listen, I wish them all the very best. I hope they do get promoted.
No, you don't. That's a lie.
I'm not sure you'll be welcome back at Ayr United.
Listen, I was the only manager that never got an invite to their centenary year.
Oh, did you know?
No. Most successful out of them all.
Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Never mind, we thought we had a goal at Pittodrie, but it's not going to count.
Who's it for?
I can't tell because the information I've been given is that it went 4-2 to Aberdeen, which would have meant that both teams would have scored.
A double.
Yeah, I'll clear that one up.
That is intense stuff. In the net, right up the other end.
Real good stuff. Pollock had netted from close range for Aberdeen, but was offside. Will not count.
5 minutes will be 6-5.
Well, you know what, right? See, no seriousness. If that goes 4-1, we were chatting about last week, certain scorelines just don't suit you. So 3-1, Stevie Hamill might just get away with it. It might just be fine. If it went 4-1, if it went 5-1, or if Motherwell hadn't scored, certain scorelines, he only has to look at the opposite dugout. Who's standing in there now? Barry Robson. And last week, Jim took a 6 and he was at the job within 15 minutes. So
the good thing for Aberdeen is that it gets the crowd off their back. They've got a win. Next week is the Scottish Cup, and the club can now take their time deciding whether Barry Robson is to be the new manager on a permanent basis and not interim manager, or whether they have a name in mind to come in. They've bought themselves a little breathing space.
Could you see Barry Robson getting the gig full time? Is that something that the Aberdeen supporters would be happy with?
No, they would. And a terrific player, Barry Robson, and a very honest, earnest coach, and
he fancies it, Hugh.
Yeah, of course.
There's no doubt he fancies it.
But the crowd are looking for a bigger name.
The two most inexperienced managers probably in the league are sitting 12th and 11th. If you're Aberdeen and you're looking to kick on, especially with the money that they've spent, now they've spent a lot of money under Jim Goodwin because they backed him. I think you've got to get someone in with a bit more experience under their belt just now for Aberdeen. I think Barry Robson's turn will come as a manager. He'll eventually get a go at it, but not just now for me.
I think he might just see it out to the end of the season. I don't think he'll be in the running come summer, but I think they might just keep him and take a bit of time.
Well, there will be a debut at Ibrox for Nicholas Raskin. He's getting ready to come on along with Scott Wright and Antonio Cholak. So Hugh, you didn't think he'd come on earlier on when there was only one goal in it? There is still only one goal in it, and he's coming on.
And Ross County are still making a game of it, to their immense credit. But that to me sounds like Michael Beale is quite relaxed about the way the game's going. Feels he can introduce. Well, Cholak is a goal scorer, and Morelos has not had an afternoon anything nearly like as good an evening as he had at Tynecastle midweek. So Cholak, Scott Wright, always a dangerous proposition. Kent and Morelos come off.
Cantwell is the other as well.
Yeah, so I think this is Michael Beale going for the big finish here.
Inverness 2, Morton 2, an equaliser for the Highlanders. Ethan Cairns with the goal for them.
I think that's a big difference from Rangers when you look at the squad now. You know, Beale's making 3 changes here. He's already made Kamara obviously earlier on, but you bring on Raskin, Cholak and Wright, and you're actually able to take off Morelos and Kent and Cantwell. You know, Kent always stays on the pitch, or more often not in years gone by, always stays on the pitch. Morelos heavily relied upon, but there you go, 3 subs, and I don't think Rangers fans would be saying, oh, what's the manager doing? I think they'd be quite accepting.
See, this is why Celtic and Rangers are set for the grandstand finish. You know, they've got 2 terrific squads. That the bench, you could take Celtic's bench or Rangers bench and start the game with them anytime you like. So they're very, very strong, and the concluding phase of the season will be terrific.
Well, Rangers fans will be interested to see how Nicholas Raskin gets on. Only, what's that, around 7 or 8 minutes he's going to have on the pitch. A couple of quick passes in the midfield there, so we'll get a glimpse of him anyway to see what type of midfielder he is, what he can offer. He's in there in a midfield 3, really, isn't he, with Ryan Jack and Glenn Kamara?
Yeah, pretty stable midfield, you've got to say. Ran about him. Yeah, we'll obviously get to judge him in weeks to come, but
he's already getting involved in the game.
He's only been on about 45 seconds, and
he's had a few passes. He get involved in a tackle there, 1 possession, going forward. Yeah, but listen, go and enjoy yourself for your debut. He's certainly going to a lot of touches.
Yeah, certainly looks keen to get involved in the game. Nicholas Raskin sitting quite deep.
Well, Michael Wales did say he was a number 6, number 8 in that position.
You like all that chat, don't you?
No, I hate it. Absolutely hate it. You're either a sitting midfield player or you're a winger.
Or what is it?
Does Gordon DL scream modern manager to you?
And the kids use just the letters sometimes, don't they?
Sometimes we overplay the game, Andrew. Look, big words mean nothing.
It's
all about results. It's all about tactical genius.
I think he called you a dinosaur. That's kind of what he was getting at.
That's not what I said at all.
That's what I took for that.
Get every qualification under his sun. Get Gordon back. You've had one good day.
Hey, that's a compliment. He said I've had a good day. That's fine, right? Let's do this before the full time start flooding in.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Scott McDonald and Gordon Greer. I have been managed by Tony Mowbray and Billy Davies. I've played for numerous Scottish teams and for a club on a different continent. My only domestic honours were won here in Scotland. I am Chris Boyd.
Chris Boyd. Mark Wilson got that within seconds, and then not long after that his face popped up on the screen just behind Mark as well. But you got it before that, I'll give you that. The leaderboard: 3rd place Michael Collins, in 2nd Kieran Selleck, but in 1st place Aidan B123. You get the bragging rights for the Who Am I, the second half teaser. You are on par with Mark Wilson. I don't know whether that's a compliment or not.
Not on par.
Well
just below me.
Well done. What gave it away?
All the clues that Hugh said there.
Yeah. What was the one that just flipped it? So you googled
I just added them all up.
No.
Well, Tony Mowbray and playing with Scott McDonald. I think Middlesbrough. Right away.
Anyway, never mind that. Brighton have scored.
Brighton have scored.
Mitoma, the man who put Liverpool out of the cup. Yeah.
He's been a fantastic pick-up for Brighton, hasn't he?
What a goal he scored to put Liverpool out of the cup last Sunday.
I made my last ever appearance at Brighton for the famous Blues at the seaside. I'll never forget it.
Well, it's the old bucket and spade derby today, Brighton against Bournemouth.
Worst performance a footballer ever put in 47 minutes. bar none.
Was the club just too big for you?
I was absolutely dreadful.
Now think how bad he has really have got to have been if that's him criticising himself.
Yeah.
That's
The
saying
guy that
something.
says he was unbelievable in every single game he ever played.
I was absolutely terrible. In fact, I was lucky to get back on the team bus.
We need to get footage of this game.
I want to see more of him.
But they played me in a position. Look, I'm a goal scorer. I'm a natural. They played me as a winger. A great pace, great ability, could duck the shoulder, but
No
I was
intelligence,
more,
no game intelligence.
I was
have you?
more a predator, a box player, a guy a nose for the goal.
Just like
I don't think Kylian Mbappe even talks about himself like this.
No, absolutely not. No. And that is the last time we'll speak about Gordon Dalziel and Kylian Mbappe in the same sentence.
Yes.
Oh, good result for Marv.
Yeah.
So
1-0.
Full-time score, 1-0. Queen
Well
of the
done,
South
Marvin.
against FC Edinburgh. Where is the potential for late drama? St Mirren 1 goal behind against Hibs, trying to get a goal to see if they can stretch that unbeaten home run. Ross County looking for a late goal against Rangers, and then Hearts, who have turned things round against Dundee United. However, they do have a man sent off. Hearts nearly taking a 2-goal lead. Stephen Humphreys has hit the post. 3 minutes added at St Mirren Hibs, so 3 minutes for St Mirren to try and salvage something.
I think obviously the biggest drama would be if Ross County equalised. That would be the drama without equal. But I can't see it as going to end 2-1 there. The story for me will be the bottom 4, not a movement anywhere. Kilmarnock will be in 9th place on 23 points. Dundee United will be bottom on 20 points, and in between Ross County and Motherwell, there you have the 4 strugglers, and it's their battle for survival now.
It just shows how quickly things can turn, because earlier on today, when Dundee United went 1-0 up, I was saying that would be them up to 9th at that point, and as it stands, they stay bottom of the table.
Yeah, these 4 teams are locked in the fight for survival.
David Friel will be delighted, because there is 7 minutes added for him in the rain at Tynecastle. So the lower leagues, a lot of the full-time scores coming in around there. However, because of VAR stoppages and things like that in the Premiership, we still have a few minutes left at most of the grounds. Ross County have a late corner at Ibrox. 3 minutes added there.
Get the goalkeeper up.
Get it in the mixer, yeah.
Get the goalie up, Mark.
Get it in. But Hugh's right about the divide. And you take tomorrow into consideration as well with St John's and Celtic. You'd fancy Celtic can win that, and then you see the gap between Aberdeen and the rest below them. They're all becoming detached from the top. So that congested middle part of the league that's been there for a couple of weeks is now
Any 2
breaking
from
away.
5 then, is that what you're saying?
It's got to be. And St Johnson obviously favourites. They're a wee bit ahead at the minute, but their form.
Well, we do have a full-time Livingston against Kilmarnock. Roger Hannah.
Yeah, Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 1. David Martindale's Lions back in 4th place in the Premiership tonight, and they did all their good work in the first half. 3 goals inside the opening half hour saw off Kilmarnock, who have had another miserable away day on the road in the top flight. Early chances, Christian Montano headed off the bar after 5 minutes in. Kelly keeper Sam Walker made a good save to deny Joel Newbley after 7, but the opening goal was delayed only until the 10th minute. A point blank header for Newbley after the Kelly defence failed to deal with a fizzing cross from home captain Nicky Devlin. It was Newbley's first start in 3 months, his first goal in 4 months, and it set Livy on the road to 3 points. It was 2-0 after 12 minutes. Bruce Anderson with an easy finish after another Devlin cross for his 6th goal of the season, and Livy's third arrived in 29 minutes. Stephen Kelly cushioning a fine right foot volley into the postage stamp corner after Newbley's cutback deflected into his path. Kilmarnock rarely seen as an attacking force in the first half. Kelvissell did hit the side netting after 42 minutes, but just seconds later at the other end was a fine save by Walker to deny Anderson the chance for a 4th goal. Kelly started brightly in the second half. Christian Doig scored his first goal for the club just 2 minutes after the restart. A close range scramble after both Kelvissell and Liam Polworth had efforts blocked in a mad scramble inside the 18-yard box. But Livingston always carried a threat in the second half. There was a double save from Walker to deny Jack Fitzwater and Newbley midway through the half. A flurry of changes, a flurry of bookings. Few clear-cut chances in the last 20 minutes. Livy back to 4th. Kilmarnock will stay 9th with the bottom 4 all losing as things stand. But 2 points and no wins on the road this season does not bode well for a relegation scrap for Derek McInnes' side. Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 1.
A big result for Livingston. It's also full-time in Paisley. Fraser Wisher.
St Mirren 0, Hibernian 1. Saints' long unbeaten home run comes to an end. They'd gone 11 without defeat, but came up against a strong Hibs side today, who deservedly won with a late Ellie Yuhan goal being the winner. Hibs the best the first half hour, better on the ball, couple of good efforts. Yuhan had a really good low shot across Trevor Carson, tipped away at full stretch by the big goalkeeper. Then McGeady bent a 20-yard free kick over the wall and inches wide, with Carson just watching it as he was beaten on his line. Saints better towards the half-time whistle. They had a couple of chances, a bit fell to Curtis Main. He tested Marshall with a near post shot, well struck with his left foot. Then he shot wildly over after picking up a stray Aidan McGeady pass. But Hibs again, first to show in the second half. Paul Hanlon headed a free kick down into the 6-yard box. Egan Riley with a hitch kick just shot wide. Lee Johnson unhappy to say the least when a controversial incident. Kanabakis played the ball last and Chris Cadden found himself through 35 yards out, but then behind the St Mirren defence, the linesman flagged for offside. The assistant referee should at least have let it play on. St Mirren were pressurising Hibs goal, crosses, dead balls, but Hibs defence, Paul Hanlon outstanding. They stood firm and no chances at Marshall's goal. At the other end, Cadden got to the byline, good cross, a volley by Ellie Yuan from the penalty spot, just inches wide. Both sides made changes. Watt on for his home debut, Henderson on for Hibs, as both looked for the goal to win the game. And Hop had a half chance. His shot was smothered by Trevor Carson, but then it was Ewan Henderson on as a sub that had an influence on the winner. He drove forward on the right hand side, tried to switch the play. I think Marcus Fraser misjudged it and it fell to Ellie Ewan on the left hand side. He jinked past Fraser again and the French striker blasted the ball past Carson as Alex Gogic made a challenge. 7,253 fans here, but 1,500 Hibs fans still celebrating to my right. They head east, happy with the 3 points, which takes Hib above St Mirren and into 5th place in the table. Good performance by Lee Johnson's men. Full time in Paisley, St Mirren 0, Hibernian 1.
Well, 2 of the 5 games finished. Still waiting for full time at Ibrox, still waiting for full time at Tynecastle and Pittodrie as well. In fact, it's just gone full time at Pittodrie. Dave Galloway.
Yeah, full time Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 1. The home side gained the upper hand and went close, with Pollock flashing a header just wide after connecting with a corner, and Kelly got down low at his right hand post to keep out Ramadani's volley from outside the box. Hayes had lengthy treatment after a head knock but was initially able to continue, and in the 42nd minute he crossed for Duke to head the hosts into a deserved lead. Just after that though, Hayes went off looking somewhat dazed. The visitors looked a little bit better after the interval, but Aberdeen went 2-0 up through Majowski. A lovely dink over the keeper after a really great through ball from Ramadani. That was on 64 minutes. 5 minutes later it was 3-0. Coulson and Clarkson combined superbly to set up Majowski for a simple finish. After 74 minutes the visitors pulled one back. A penalty was awarded after a VAR review for handball against Kennedy, and Van Veen coolly sent Horter the wrong way with his spot kick. Pollock netted from close range for the Dons, but what would have been a 4th goal was quickly ruled out. But all in all, much better from the home side, back to winning ways. You can hear in the background what the fans think of that, but that is 11 league games without a victory for the Steelmen. It finished at Pittodrie, Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 1.
A late red card for Hearts. Josh Ginnelly sent off, it looks like a straight red card for dissent. We'll get the full story from David Friel when that game finishes. One game that has finished though, Rangers against Ross County at Ibrox. Gabriel Antoniazzi.
Yes, and it's finished Rangers 2, Ross County 1. A header from Malik Tillman on the stroke of half-time gave the hosts the advantage, but a Jordan White header after an hour threatened to ruin Michael Beale's impressive run. A heavily deflected Borna Barisic free kick a few minutes later secured all 3 points for the hosts. Now, it was a good first half, reasonably end-to-end as County set up well, but did also pose an attacking threat, something we don't see too often from teams here in Govan. 15 minutes in, today's player of the match, Todd Cantwell, clipped the crossbar with a nice going effort, the first big chance of the match. There were several more opportunities from Rangers. The theme seemed to be that they were just missing the target with their final chance. Tavernier smashed the ball over from an acute angle. Alfredo Morelos had a really good effort that headed just wide. Malik Tillman came on as a sub early on for the injured John Lundstrom. He had a few great driving runs. He headed just wide late on in the half, and it did start to feel like it was coming. There was about 2 minutes of pressure in stoppage time in and around the Ross County box. Tillman made a lovely run into the 6-yard box, and Todd Cantwell clipped a pass and found him header into the back of the net. It wasn't as entertaining in the second half. Rangers perhaps guilty of just going through the motions a bit. They were forced to wake up by the visitors. First, Noah Kenner had a great effort, tipped over by John McLaughlin. The resulting corner was taken short. Jan Danda had a great ball whipped in, and he found Jordan White's head. Jordan White loves a big goal in a big game, and he did it again. The Gers knew they had to put their foot on the gas, and they did. Ryan Kent rattled the bar with his left foot. Then the 75th minute, Borna Barisic had a free kick, took a really heavy deflection off Jordan White incidentally, and it left Ross Laidlaw with no chance in the county goal. Not the best performance we've seen from this team, and the manager will want more from them going forwards, but today's job is done. They are unbeaten in 12 under Michael Beale, 7 wins in a row for Rangers, and Celtic's lead at the top is trimmed to 6 points until tomorrow. Full time at Ibrox, Rangers 2, Ross County.
Well, there was only one goal in it at Tynecastle between Hearts and Dundee United. Both teams were down to 10 men, and right at the death, one of these.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's full time at Tynecastle, an incredible end. I'll let David Friel tell you.
Full time, Andrew. Hearts 3, Dundee United 1. It's February the 4th, but we might have to call off the goal of the season competition because I think Stephen Humphreys in the last 60 seconds has just won it. The Hearts substitute scored from his own half. It might even been in the D in his own half. Sailed over Mark Birighitti to seal the win here. What a goal. The celebrations were unbelievable. What a difference 45 minutes makes. Hearts fans at half time, they booed their team off. At full time, they're now celebrating a huge win. They also finished with 10 men. Dundee United played an hour with 10 men. It was probably harsh on them, but a big win for Hearts. United started really well. They took the lead through Stephen Fletcher in 9 minutes. Ilmari Niskanen set in a low cross. The United striker took a touch before finishing under Xander Clark. United did better chances after that. They did so well, but everything changed in the half-hour mark as Ryan Edwards, their captain, was sent off. He went in just too hard on Andy Halliday. Nick Walsh was told to go and have a look. Edwards had played the ball, but he left a bit on Andy Halliday and he was sent off. United should have still been 2-0 up at the break. Stephen Fletcher missed a good chance. Glenn Middleton hit the post, but the second half, in all honesty, was one-way traffic. Hearts kept going. The pressure finally told with 3 goals in the last 25 minutes. Lawrence Shanklin grabbed the equaliser when he gathered Barry McKay's cross and sent a deflected strike into the bottom corner. Then in 77 minutes it was 2-1. Barry McKay again, he was the creator, a clever pass to Cochrane, and he did the rest with a low finish. There was another red card in injury time. Josh Ginnelly was booked for time wasting, then 10 seconds later he was sent off for dissent. It was the old sarcastic clap. Nick Walsh sent him packing, but then a minute later Stephen Humphreys took centre stage. United had been pressing to try and get equaliser. The ball fell to the big striker. He raced up to about the halfway line and sent a soaring shot well over Mark Birighitti. What a goal, what a finish, what a game. Full time, Hearts stayed and United won.
Well, David Friel had an absolute thriller there. Stephen Humphreys scoring from his own half. Looking forward to seeing that one. The action is done, and now we want to hear from you. 0141 951 1025. I'm sure fans of Rangers will want to tell us what they thought of that performance. What did you think of Nicholas Raskin? He, of course, came off the bench for his debut. Motherwell fans, what do you make of that? A 3-1 defeat to Aberdeen. Kilmarnock fans might have something to say about that defeat to Livingston. 0141 951 1025. We'll take your calls next.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141